or call 288-7902.
Hi, I'm Chance Munger. My family grows pistachios in Kern County, California. Kids love cracking open pistachios and eating them, and that's good because pistachios have no sugar. Kids need all the good stuff that's in pistachios like protein and antioxidants. So when you buy snacks for your kids, think about healthy snacks we can crack open. The Fun Snack, California Pistachios.
Learn more from American pistachio growers at americanpistachios.org.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Our professional parts people can recommend the supplies you need, including a filter, funnel, shop towels, drain pans, and more. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's Allbritton's complete furnace revitalization.
Makes your heater blow like it's young again for just $129.
Online at allbritain.com.
News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
Sunny and 57 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. Fresno County officials meet today prepping for the incoming storm this week. Rain falling on snow in the Sierra Nevada will potentially cause flooding. Fresno County's administrative officer, emergency services manager, along with others, meeting with representatives from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, the California Highway Patrol, and the National Weather Service. The Weather Service's Bianca Foudkircher advising Californians to prepare.
Snow melts, especially in those elevations below 5,000 feet, will lead to flooding and rises on rivers. Right now is that time to get prepared. It is looking very impactful. Make sure to have your flood kits ready if you are planning travel this weekend. Stay tuned with the weather, and if you can postpone, it's really looking like a very active period this weekend and even next week.
City of Madero will provide free sand and sandbags for residents on a first-come, first-served basis. They can be picked up in front of the Public Works building on Gateway Drive. The National Park Service says Yosemite will remain closed through at least Sunday, March 12th. It was announced today that Highway 168, that was closed due to snow, will reopen on Wednesday. Great news for people living in the Shaver Lake and Huntington Lake areas, as well as those wanting to ski at China Peak. The suspect killed in a Fresno police shooting is identified. 29-year-old Roberto Corchada was shot and killed by Fresno police on Saturday night. He led police on a pursuit in northeast Fresno. It stopped when a police car disabled his car near Herndon and Ingrid Avenues. That's where he died after a shootout with officers. No additional information is being released. 4 Americans in Mexico, their minivan attacked by gunmen, and they were kidnapped Friday. 1 has been found dead, 1 wounded, and 1 unharmed. Today, State Department spokesperson Ned Price says they're looking at getting justice for the attack.
Today, we learned the very sad news that Mexican state and federal authorities recovered 4 U.S. citizens kidnapped on March 3rd in Matamoros, Mexico. 2 U.S. citizens were returned to the United States. The bodies of 2 other U.S. citizens killed in the same incident were also recovered.
35-year-old Latavia McGee of South Carolina had traveled to Matamoros, Mexico for cosmetic surgery with 3 friends. One is being treated for injuries in Texas. President Joe Biden has started to release parts of his budget proposal. Cheryl Gascon has a preview.
The White House plans to propose a plan that would raise taxes on Americans making $400,000 and above, while also reducing what Medicare pays for some prescription drugs. About 60 million seniors depend on Medicare for their health insurance. Now, the president writing in an op-ed in the New York Times this morning, quote, "The budget I am releasing this week will make the Medicare trust fund solvent beyond 2050 without cutting a penny in benefits. In fact, we can get better value making sure Americans receive better care for the money they pay into Medicare."
California and other states suffer major crop losses because of the weather. KMJ's Ag Director Don York reports.
The American Farm Bureau Federation estimates 2022 crop losses due to weather and climate change at more than $21 billion. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reported last year as the third costliest disaster year event in American history. Texas suffered the most significant hit, with $6.4 billion in losses, mostly from damages to cotton. Further down the list, California suffered hundreds of millions of dollars in losses to fruits and vegetables from drought conditions. But more than half of the agricultural losses were protected under government risk management programs. Yet the American Farm Bureau Federation says crop loss estimates do not include infrastructure damage or livestock losses. Don York, KMJ News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 574 points. Now here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Tuesday forecast.
Another sunny afternoon across the valley with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Commercial Radiator, your full-service repair shop for large industrial radiators, ag equipment, or to keep your fleet on the road. That's Commercial Radiator.
Now, KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
2:05, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Tuesday installment. Phones are open, 490-5858. Toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. Find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drive KMJ. Watch it streaming on YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Gabe Navarro subbing in this afternoon to screen your calls, again at 490-5858, as I join E. Curtis Johnson back in the KMJ studios.
Hello, Philip.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Beautiful day out there.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. Was out there earlier.
Which kind of belies what we've got coming. We all talk about the weather a little bit. I have never seen folks in California spend as much time dreading rain as what I'm hearing about this coming storm.
Yeah, somehow the words atmospheric river always catches people's attention and makes them wake up a little bit.
The concern is completely reasonable. If this is the first that you've been hearing about it, good morning. Congratulations on breaking out of your coma. With all that snowpack, with all that beautiful, wonderful snow, if we have a great big rainstorm come through and rain on the snow and you start a premature melt, when you factor in the burn scars and the unusually heavy snowpack for California, we may have the worst mudslide, rock slide season we've had in decades.
Yeah, it's a horrible combination. I mean, it's the opposite of, a match and gasoline. All that exposed soil and then all of that water running off prematurely in mass amounts is just horrific to think about.
The closest that I ever got to country living is I spent about a year living out in Raymond, kind of on the backside of Hensley Lake. And we were out in the boonies, but the house had all the modern conveniences. About as country as I got was participating in a propane tank refill one October.
How exciting.
It was. I don't know why I had like log cabin type off-grid living in my head. This was this beautiful 4-bedroom house that had like a creek running through the backyard, just not roughing it. 10-person hot tub on the back porch, like that kind of scene.
10-person. Wow.
It was massive. It was the biggest hot tub I've ever seen. They had to bring in like a crane and a boom to get it onto the back porch of this house. It was insane. And that was why the previous owners left it there, because the cost of extracting it was more than just buying a new hot tub when they got wherever they were going.
How can you move that thing?
So I'm used to suburban home stuff. I don't have to cut a fire line around my property. I don't have to worry about pumping things out and filling things up. In your youth, you got to do the country living thing. You had the experience of managing property in a wooded area. Is there anything to be done, like when we get ready for fire season, you cut a fire break? Is there an equivalent for preparing for this kind of situation with snow and rain?
Well, that's a tough question. I mean, I know how to prepare against fire. Lived in California long enough. You get enough training on it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's anything you can do.
Like there's no, I mean, and I'm half kidding when I say this. There's no dig a moat option.
No, because a moat, I mean, even if you had a backhoe, if you tried to dig a moat around your house to prevent from an eventual flood, you couldn't dig acres and acres away.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you could dig a moat in a dam, that might keep some of the water out.
Sure.
But and I'm not a geologist or an engineer, but also how do you pack that dirt? You know, if you got a lot of water running off a hill behind you, and it's essentially creating a river, it could potentially wash away whatever dam you've built around your house.
The engineering is too big for any single residential property.
I believe so.
Yeah, I kind of thought that might be the answer, but I just, not having had the experience, not having been told to prepare for something like this, the first thing that goes through my head is pack everything you love and send the pod to town. So when it's time to evacuate, you just got to grab your go bag and walk.
Yeah, it's much like a fire evacuation situation in that you've got to decide what's important to you, what can you put in your car, prepare in advance to move as quickly and as much as possible. But you can't, unfortunately, save your house from all natural disasters. It's just not possible. In fact, it's even more difficult with a flood because at least if you've created, say, a fire ring around your house, if you've cleared all of the brush around your house so that there's very little for the fire to burn up to, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Sure.
But how do you protect yourself from even a foot wall of water?
Well, and
even 6 inches of water.
Well, and that's exactly why I was asking the question, because I, not having ever had to think about it, it just is. Is there anything to be done? I know that you go down to New Orleans, you've got levees, but these are these massive municipal projects. This isn't, hi, my name's Jim, and I've got a house in the woods, and I've decided to build a levee. This is something that was done over the course of a generation at tremendous expense to the entire community.
Yeah, exactly. And those kinds of things are at least estimated based on prior experience.
Yeah.
But someone living in a remote area in California, again, it's the opposite of preparing for a fire.
Yeah.
You can prepare for a fire by removing all of the fuel. So that's a much more controlled situation. But there's no way to predict how much water you're actually going to receive.
There's no easy answer. There's just no easy fix.
No.
Well, what I am hoping is that with this atmospheric river, the temperature drops enough that it's just more snow. And we're still going to have a headache when the natural eventual snow melt starts as we get deeper into spring. But that sounds a lot less daunting than wetting it down and seeing it start on, the second week of March.
Yeah, and it is the season too. I mean, we're in March. The past couple of years, we haven't had this kind of snowfall. We haven't had this kind of rain, and it's unfortunately the card that's been dealt us.
It is probably worth noting that this is Red Cross Volunteer Month. This is when the Red Cross does their big drive to get folks to get involved and sign up and get trained and make their availabilities and their skill sets known, so that when, unfortunately, it becomes necessary to activate Red Cross in a given region, they've got bodies ready to go. And if that's something that appeals to you, if you're at all interested in that, go to redcross.org and hit the volunteer button and find out what opportunities they've got in the area. Because they really do. They have everything from, we need doctors and nurses, to, we need guys who can carry boxes and cases of water.
That's a great idea.
So redcross.org if you want to get it to be a part of that, which I think this is going to be a season where the need's unfortunately a little bit higher. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the doomsayers of the meteorological set are missing the mark on this, and we just see it get colder and see it work out okay.
That's a great plan.
An update out of this story from North Mexico. We told you yesterday about this group of 4 that crossed into Matamoros, Mexico. They were coming south from like Brownsville, Texas, and they were set upon by cartel members. One of the passengers in their vehicle was killed. 4 people were taken hostage, and it turned out that it was a case of mistaken identity. The cartel believed that this was competing human traffickers. And that's not what this was. Apparently, a couple of these people were just headed across the border to get a medical procedure. And they have now they have recovered 2 of the 4 Americans. They were found alive. One was injured, but they're both alive. They're both going to recover. They also now know that the other 2 are dead. So the survivors are Eric James Williams and Latavia McGee, and they're already home. They're in the hospital, reconnected with their families. And the repatriation of the other 2 is currently being navigated by the American and Mexican government. They caught one guy, 24-year-old, who was left to watch these folks. They spent 2 days moving them from house to house, just trying to keep the authorities from picking up on where they had them. They knew they had the wrong people. They just weren't sure how to deal with it.
Well, and you're dealing with people that place no value in human life. So even though these cartel members realized they've got the wrong people, I mean, they have. If you're trafficking people, you oftentimes have no gumption whatsoever about eliminating people. Unfortunately,
the real miracle here is that 2 came home alive. Unfortunately, so it's a strange, scary story, and that kind of got followed up. There's a couple of different places reporting on, is it safe to go to Mexico? I've only been once. I was not there long. We drove down from San Diego, spent like 2 hours in Mexico, and then turned around and came home. I learned 2 things.
What's that?
One, not everybody's excited to see American tourists.
See.
2, while the Mexican border guards will let you leave the country without a second thought, just a wave and a have a good one. If 2 white guys in an F-150 pickup truck with a bunch of crap in the cab exit and return to the country within 90 minutes, you are absolutely going to be invited to pull over for a vehicle check.
Most definitely.
One of the scariest moments of my life. Not because I was doing anything wrong, but just one of those I'm out of my depth here moments. Me and my buddy came back across the border, and the truck was loaded up. We had a bunch of junk in it from this stay. He had a family member who was not well in San Diego, and that's why we were down there. So we had, suitcases and bags in the back of the King Cab F-150. Pull up to the border, present our IDs. We didn't even have passports. We just hand the guy our driver's license. So, okay. Kind of, looks at our licenses, does something on the computer. I'm going to need you guys to pull over to stall number 4.
It's called secondary.
Well, and I'm fine. Okay. Like I'm not a complete idiot. There was a part of my brain that went, oh yeah, of course. A couple of guys back and forth across the border that quick without passports. They want to check. They have us get out of the truck and go stand on these yellow footprints that are painted on the concrete. Like getting off the bus at Marine Corps basic training day 1 nonsense. We get off, we go stand on these yellow footprints. The scariest looking border cop this guy looked like the Terminator. Comes out with the meanest looking German Shepherd I've ever seen on like a 6-inch lead. But they're fine. They're being professionals. They're like, if you want to smoke, stand there and smoke. Just don't leave your butt on the ground. We're going to check your vehicle. And they do the mirrors, the whole thing. They have the dog go all around the vehicle, get up in the cab, and the dog stops at my center console. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was in my 20s. The possibility that there was a roach or something in there existed. But I didn't think there was because we checked the car before we left because we didn't want to get into trouble. But the dog didn't hit. She just was interested. And then they finish, and I'm talking to the cop, and I'm like, hey, yes, so obviously that wasn't a, alarm, or you'd be tearing my center console out of my truck. That was a big pause. He goes, yeah, it was. I said, are you curious what that dog smelled? Yes, I am.
You brought that up to him?
Yeah, why not?
You fool.
So I open up my center console, and there's like a half a pack of cigarettes and some receipts. And honest to God, I have no idea why I had it. I was at this point, I was in my 20s, but I had a pack of fruit stripe gum. And he saw that and he goes, that's it. She loves bubble gum.
You got lucky. Having worked in Mexico for 2.5 years, I learned that the only people that they hire as customs agents are people who are too mean and ornery to work at the DMV.
Oh, yeah. No, this cat was not there to make friends, man. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. When we get back, we got to talk about Gavin Newsom and the war on Walgreens. 490-5858, 800-776-5858. The afternoon drive continues next on KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Shopping for new blinds? At Blindster, we offer over 50 different blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices, custom made for your windows, and shipping is free. Shop at home and order 10 free samples of any product before you buy. Blindster.com.
The winter months are upon us, so it's time for your truck's free winter diagnostic checkup. Come on in and let one of our certified service technicians perform a comprehensive HVAC and battery systems check. If further repairs are required, you can receive up to a 15% discount on parts and labor needed for the repair. Visit any one of our 3 dealerships at EM Tharp Golden State Peterbilt, located in Fresno, Porterville, and Bakersfield. Call today to schedule your free winter checkup. 800-421-0117. That's 800-421-0117.
Donate your old vehicle to carsforkids.org, the best car vehicle donation program. Your generosity changes the lives of kids right here in our community with a second chance to build a better future. Before you sell or give away that old vehicle in any condition, please donate it to carsforkids.org. Carsforkids.org takes cars, trucks, motorcycles. Pickup is free, plus you'll get a $50 Visa gift card as a special thank you. It's so easy to donate at carsforkids.org. Please, write off the car, not the kid.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
There's no denying it. People are using way more bottles and cans than ever before. Recycling them eases the strain on our natural resources and reduces greenhouse gases in our skies. Sure beats letting them spend the next few centuries just sitting in a landfill. Want to step up your efforts to help the environment? No doubt, reaching for the recycle bin just feels right. So no matter how you're doing your part, thank you. Do the right thing and take the time to recycle your beverage container bottles and cans at home, at work, and at play each and every day. And doing the right thing can make you money. Almost every bottle and can you use can be recycled. Look for the universal recycle symbol and the words CA Cash Refund or CA CRV. Toss CRV eligible containers into your curbside bin along with your other recyclable materials or redeem them for their refund value at your local recycling center.
This beverage container recycling message has been brought to you by Mid-Valley Disposal and the City of Coalinga.
Salt is for seasoning, not drinking. Water softeners add sodium to your water without filtering it. Here's something better than a softener: a LifeSource salt-free water system. Softeners do not filter water and remove healthy minerals. LifeSource filters water from every tap and keeps healthy minerals without maintenance, salt, or servicing. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, a savings of $825 with qualifying purchase. Offer ends soon, so call 559-330-1850. LifeSourceWater.com.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the afternoon drive. Philip Teresi is here. My name is E. Curtis Johnson. And Governor Newsom is hoping, this is my hope, I hope he has really stepped in at this time. I have really had it with this powerful Ken doll. I've just had it with him. Annoying little putz. And now he's, here's the tweet that he sent out earlier. And this I'm reading this exactly as Governor Newsom sent it. California won't be doing business with at Walgreens, linking, of course, to the Walgreens page, or any other company that cowers to the extremists and puts women's lives at risk. So the street term is abortion pills. Yeah. And I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, but I think it's pronounced mifepristone. In fact, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. But he shows a picture of these pills that Walgreens, he claims, will not distribute in California. Now, the real story on this is that they cannot. It's
that's the thing, though. They will distribute them in California. They won't distribute them in the 20 states that made them illegal. The governor of the state of California is posturing over something that has nothing to do with the state.
Yeah, it's there's 20 states involved that these pills cannot be sold in, and it has to do with the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. And it's not that Walgreens, I mean, why he's just picking them out, quite frankly, probably CVS and some of the other big chains are tied up in this also. I mean, he should be, instead of calling out a company who is literally being held hostage by the Food and Drug Administration. And let's just suspend for a minute what this is about, if we can, for the sake of discussion.
Yeah.
Because you won't understand what it's really about until you realize the power of the Food and Drug Administration. I mean, they have all kinds of power to regulate all kinds of things. And they're caught up in their own bureaucratic red tape on this one. And Governor Newsom doesn't have the common sense to do a little bit of homework on it and find out why Walgreens isn't distributing them. Instead, he's got to be woke, and he's got to gin up his base, and he's got to make government bureaucracy, because that's what the holdup is. He's got to make that his cause for his support of abortion.
So if I understood this correctly, Walgreens at this time is waiting for approval from the FDA to be allowed to dispense this particular drug by mail.
That's correct.
There are 20 states that have, since Roe v. Wade was overturned, have either newly passed or had laws in place for the eventual overturning of Roe v. Wade that one way or another make the distribution of this drug unlawful.
Correct.
Here in California, there's certain kinds of ammunition that civilians cannot buy. One of the things that I have wanted forever, not because I'm going to go around using it on people, but because I like target shooting, I like playing with guns, is something called Dragon's Breath. And they are 12-gauge shells that basically produce a giant fireworks-like blowtorch out the end of your shotgun.
That sounds fun.
And I've got a janky Rock Island Armory 12-gauge that I don't really care about, that I think would be perfect to fire a couple of those bad boys off in a safe and controlled, permissible situation. I can't buy that ammunition here. It is illegal for me to buy it. It turns out it's also illegal for civilians to buy rubber rounds.
Did not know that.
This would be like Ron DeSantis saying that he's not going to do business with the manufacturer of this ammunition because they won't mail it to me here in California where we decided it's not legal. From a legal standpoint, we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, that's a great example, and certainly those are two examples of hotbed issues: abortion and Second Amendment rights. Yeah. What kind of guns can you have? The part that chaps me about this is just the audacity and the ignorance of our governor making a fool of himself, and he doesn't even realize it. I mean, his statement, again, I'm going to read this. This is the governor's statement. California won't be doing business with at Walgreens or any company that cowers to the extremists and puts women's lives at risk. No, I'm sorry, Governor, you're the extremist. You are so woke. You are so up in arms about your cause that you can't get your facts straight.
It feels very clear to me reading this that this is about Gavin Newsom running for president in 2024. Because this doesn't change anything. Walgreens isn't going to close. They're not going to stop with all of the retail sales that they have in California. And I have no earthly clue if Walgreens is on the list for California State Employees Benefits. I know it's not on the list for Central Unified Teachers Benefits. We're CVS. I think this is just posturing. I think that it's once again taking advantage of this extremely contentious issue to make sure he gets national coverage for a thing he said.
Well, sure, absolutely, it's posturing. Now, and if he was going to posture correctly, he would have got his facts right about why this drug isn't available yet. You would have think he would call somebody in Washington, D.C. Hi, this is the governor of California, the 8th largest economy in the world, or whatever our ranking is right now. You think he would have called the FDA,
yeah,
which is who's holding it up. Now, he could have scored points across the board on that, because now not only is he fighting government bureaucracy and government incompetency, but he's holding true to his liberal principles. Again, I am not a proponent of abortion. I am against it. But let's just put that aside. And I know that's hard to do, and that probably angered some people. But this is about a governor who should know better, who didn't do his homework, shot off his mouth. Now he looks like a fool, and he makes California look like a fool.
Again and again and again. It's the Afternoon Drive. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi, and we have got an updated headlines with Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
Fresno County officials meeting today, readying for the incoming storm this week. Rain falling on snow in the Sierra Nevada this Friday will potentially cause flooding. At the meeting, the Weather Service's Christian Matarrochia with an important message: not to alarm, but to prepare. Take a listen.
We just want everyone to be prepared for impacts that have never been experienced before. What has happened over the past week is that we've seen heavy snow at low elevation, foothills, around 2,000 feet. And in less than a week, we're going to put 6 to 8 inches of rain on top of that. We need to get the word out that this storm will be unlike any other weather event so far this season. It's just really important that we communicate the severity of this situation so you can stay safe and you can get ready. The amount of rain we're receiving, considering what has already fallen, is unprecedented, countywide. It doesn't matter if you're in the mountains, if you're in the city of Fresno, if you're in the western half of the county near Coalinga. We are expecting water problems to really affect everyone's life. So again, why we are all here today is to make sure that you stay safe and know that this is not a garden variety storm. This is something, again, that will bring impacts to daily life never experienced before.
Representatives from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, the California Highway Patrol, are working with Fresno County to prepare for the flooding at that meeting today. You can sign up for alerts at the Fresno County website and see road closures and conditions within Fresno County. Cities all over the valley are offering sandbags. Check with your city for details. Caltrans shares video of efforts to clear a rock slide on Highway 178 that blocked traffic in Kern County. That's the sound of charges blowing up a massive boulder that rocked the roadway for several days. Caltrans said it had to blast the big rock apart in order to speed up the clearing of Highway 178. More fun news now. Singer Ed Sheeran completed a hat trick of attendance records last week.
I'm thinking out loud, maybe we found love right where we are.
His mathematics tour swung into the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the largest stadium in Australia. The pop superstar breaking the national record for attendance at a ticketed concert on Thursday. Upwards of 105,000 tickets were sold. The venue hosting another record-breaking effort last Friday, more than 109,500 fans packing the house, setting a new mark for the second consecutive night. On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 574 points, closing at 32,856. The S&P 500 lost 62 points. NASDAQ dropped 145. 2:34 at KMJ. Right now here at Radio City, it's 57 degrees and sunny. Fox 26's Justin Willis has more of our Tuesday forecast.
Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. Otherwise, another sunny afternoon across the valley today with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s, overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Find everything you love listening to on Audible. Hear celebrity memoirs, mysteries, true crime, sci-fi, and more. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
Chris Daniel for Breadcrumb Cybersecurity. Ransomware, wire fraud, breaches. You're talking about it for your business already. How could you not be? These are nation-based bad actors, criminal cartels. The same ones who target government and Fortune 500 companies are targeting you. It's time for the next step in protecting your company. It's time to call Breadcrumb. Trusted by law enforcement and nationally recognized, the team at Breadcrumb delivers results, period. Go now to breadcrumbcyber.com because evidence is everywhere.
What a year it's been for Best Concrete Blocks. Seems like everybody's finding a way to use these versatile and affordable blocks. Walls, barriers, material separation, they're nearly indestructible. And now, Best Concrete Blocks is introducing Pretty Boy, a great choice for adding an aesthetically appealing block with a beautiful stonemason's design. The Pretty Boy block is perfect for areas that have public visibility. See Pretty Boy for yourself at bestconcreteblocks.com or call 288-7902.
We always fix what you need fixed. Auto House of Clovis.
Hey y'all, this is Gabe Navarro with a pro tip from Auto House of Clovis. Your vehicle is one of your biggest investments and one of the few items you need to be able to depend on. Your vehicle has been there for you through thick and thin, and we intend to keep it that way. We know times are a little uncertain these days, but our commitment to quality, reliable service is always guaranteed. At Auto House of Clovis, we aim to make the not-so-enjoyable process of automotive repair as easy as possible, so your only worry is what to make for dinner. Give our team a call at 559-292-2028. And if you're looking to join Daryl and his team, we're taking applications for technician positions of all skills and interests.
We always fix what you need fixed. Auto House of Clovis.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and I sell custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
The Ag Center offers farmers throughout California assistance and support to help take on the daily challenges of farm management. Learn more on how the Ag Center can help you at www.theagcenter.com.
Bring your friends and family to Castle Air Museum in Atwater and check out almost 80 vintage military aircraft exhibits open daily from 9 to 4. Check out castleairmuseum.org.
This is KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
Hey, I know those guys. It's News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Philip Teresi is here. My name is E. Curtis Johnson. And this is one of my pet peeves. We live in a country that was founded on rebellion.
Yeah.
The challenge is, unless you win the rebellion, you're a traitor.
Yes.
So if you're going to rebel, you better win, or you're going to be labeled for what you are.
Yeah.
So we've got this situation in Georgia. It happened a couple of weeks ago where there were some protests around what's called the Atlanta Public Safety Training Facility. It's a place where they train cops. It's been tagged by environmental activists as Cop City. So we had a situation here. This was yesterday, where protesters showed up with Molotov cocktails. Now, there's a huge difference between protesting your government and calling government out and saying, this is wrong, this needs to change, and following due process. As a red-blooded American, I am all for that.
Mm-hmm.
We should always hold our public officials in strict control. But there's a big difference between marching down to City Hall or writing your congressman or petitioning your president and physically, violently attacking a police facility. This type of thing is happening all across the United States. There's a movement called auditing, where there are guys out there, they will record encounters with police, and they essentially are checking their constitutional rights to make certain that the police don't violate their constitutional rights. Now, I have no problem with that, but when you're swearing at police officers, when you're intentionally agitating them, trying to knock them off their game, that's the first step to what leads to what we've just had here in Atlanta, where you've got people throwing Molotov cocktails. I mean, that's a felony. People could have been killed. Now, here's the thing. One might think, it's local Atlanta residents objecting to what's going on in their neighborhood. Well, not exactly. There were 23 suspects arrested. 21 of them are from out of town or out of the country. These are imported, hired thugs. There's no other way to term it than that.
This is one of the things that interests me about this phenomenon. I know it's a really detached attitude to take about what could arguably be called domestic terrorism. When you start getting the biographies of these people who have been arrested, the number of times that it turns out that the most active, over-the-top, aggressive in these groups, they're not marginalized populations, they're not locals, they are trustafarians, they are upper-middle-class suburban kids whose mom and dad think they're away at college, who show up to these things like it's a scene. Like in the 90s, we had raves and everybody would go to a warehouse with a disc jockey and recreational drugs and dance and vomit until sunrise. This is a scene for a certain demographic. And it's the demographic that eventually moves into academia under the guise of social justice white knighting.
Yeah, not only a demographic, but a psychographic, as in a political thought.
Yeah.
Now, back 2 years ago, whenever it was, when Antifa, however you pronounce those idiots' names, when they were burning the country down. This is the same kind of thing. This is not an American protest. This is an anti-American protest. And why would they target police? Well, because that shows what their true intent is. They want to weaken the police forces that protect average Americans. They're looking for chinks. They're looking for every little thing a cop might do wrong, and they're exploiting that, not to support American freedom, but to denigrate and disseminate and destroy the forces that would keep us safe.
Both extremes of the political spectrum, in my opinion, have folks that want to tear it all down. And in this case, it's the Antifa and what is it? Black flag, black hand, something like that. The people that are specifically showing up to be the shock troops of the protest movement.
Yeah, I want to say black hand.
Something like, yeah. It is remarkable to me how many of these people come from these extremely comfortable, privileged lives who then want to tear everything down to remake it in what image, I don't know. Because I think that both sides have this very false concept of whatever their utopian ideal is. And on the left, it's this anti-cop, anarchistic take, like we're all just going to sit around and kumbaya after the government's gone. But there's an interesting, I think, a little bit of a tip here about how the lines are starting to blur on the left. The 28-year-old Thomas Webb Juergens is one of the folks who was arrested, charged with a single charge of domestic terrorism. He is a staff attorney with the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Whoa.
SPLC put out a statement saying that Juergens was there as a, quote, legal observer in relation to the protest, and that his arrest is not evidence of a crime, but of heavy-handed law enforcement intervention against protesters. I've interacted with the cops a couple of times in my life. I've been arrested a couple of times, righteously, by the way. I've never had a cop abuse me. Now, I'm not saying that abuses don't exist and that folks don't get things wrong. That's not the point that I'm making. But a 28-year-old middle-upper-class Southern Poverty Law Center attorney doesn't get handcuffs unless he was doing something that made a cop think he needed handcuffs, because that person knows how to talk their way out of serious trouble.
That's an excellent point. And he certainly wasn't dressed like an attorney.
No,
I mean,
no.
not to give stereotypes, but if you're in a riot and you're the guy wearing the suit and tie, police are probably not going to target you. If you're wearing dark clothing and you're trying to obscure your face, yeah, obviously you've painted a target on yourself for law enforcement, especially when you're throwing Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, this guy in his mugshot, hair's messed up, looks like he hasn't shaved in a day or two, wearing what appears to be last season's LL Bean thermal undershirt.
Well, you've got to be stylish when you're trying to destroy the culture and country that created it.
I'm looking at, and by the way, I'm also looking at dates of birth here. And this is, I think, one of those interesting slices of who's participating in this nonsense for the most part. 1991, 2004, 1997, 2000, 1998, 2000, 2000, 1993, 1996, 2003, 1995, 1997, 1997. And then we got a couple of folks that are a little bit closer to my age, a couple of 77s, 76. This is all kids coming out to be a part of a scene. I really don't think that these people actually have a coherent end game in mind. I think that they're just showing up to do a thing.
You know, I don't know. I think they do have an end game in mind. I mean, certainly members of Antifa have an end game in mind. I mean, they brag about their history. They brag about what they have supposedly done in other countries. Now, I'm not saying that these people were throwing these Molotov cocktails at this police center in Atlanta were Antifa, but they're certainly leftists.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No question about that. And it doesn't surprise me that leftists, hello, yes, I speak for a living, come from a rich background. You don't have farm boys from Tulare showing up for these things because farm boys from Tulare have been taught how to work.
Yeah, they're busy being productive members of society.
Yes. These are bored rich kids who've fallen for the wrong hook.
C. Curtis Johnson, I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. A little bit more on the arrests outside Atlanta at so-called Cop City on the way on KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
At CopyRabbit.com. Whatever home or business project you need done, and I do mean whatever you need, CopyRabbit.com is your one-stop shop. It's a way to reclaim your time and your peace of mind. Check them out at CopyRabbit.com, K-O-P-I Rabbit.com. Whatever the job you need done, just post your project on CopyRabbit.com. They are going to find the right professional who will bid on your project. And by the way, you're not going to get bids from any random business. CopyRabbit is checking the pros out. They're doing background checks, verifying licenses. You will know who is bidding on your job before you give them your business. So visit CopyRabbit.com, K-O-P-I Rabbit.com. Whatever type of pro you're looking for, CopyRabbit will help you find the right professional for the job. K-O-P-I Rabbit.com. It's where people go to get things done. That's CopyRabbit.com.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you're allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
And let me tell you, it's been a real adventure dealing with the Zuber team and the potential sale of my home on Van Ness. 2903 Van Ness. Hint, hint, it's gorgeous, 2 stories. It's over 100 years old. I've done much to it, and I want you to live there. Get a hold of the Zuber team, please. I used a couple of programs to make sure I could get into the condominium that I wanted to in kind of an expeditious, quickie way. The Zuber team has a number of programs that can help you out. If you have to move on now, ask the Zuber team to give you an instant cash offer on the place that you're selling. With the Zuber team, you can buy before you sell. Ask about the trade-up program. Darren and Daryl will take care of you and any other of the Zuber team members. The Zuber team with Real Broker has been at it since 1971. They've sold close to 7,000 homes. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews between Google and Zillow. Click Zuber Team, Z-U-B-E-R, ZuberTeam.com. Or Google Zuber Team. They're so easy to find, and they're easier to work with.
Operations are minimizing. The demand for storage is higher than ever, and driving to an off-property storage facility isn't exactly practical. 20 to 45-foot repurposed shipping containers for personal and work storage are great. Container Stop will deliver yours to you, but Container Stop doesn't stop there. What about a tack room for equestrian use, utility room for a gym, auto or carpentry shop with roll-up door? Here's the coolest part. Container Stop can even deliver custom home space containers for construction site offices, working from home space, studio use, or even adding a living space. Yeah, complete with finished floors, walls, windows, bathroom, kitchenette, heat, and AC. Hard to imagine? Then don't. Visit containerstop.com and see for yourself. They have what you need, or will literally make it. Looking for short or long-term storage solutions? Stop. Nobody does storage containers better than Container Stop. Their website's easy. It's their name, then .com. containerstop.com.
Awards and honors are nice, but keeping you informed and entertained is what keeps us coming to work every day. This is KMJ.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. I'm E. Curtis Johnson. We've been solving all of the nation's problems. In fact, we just did some incredibly great radio during the commercial break. So we'll see if we can repeat that again. Philip, I think you make an excellent point. We were, again, talking during the break. I'll repeat what we were saying. You talked about the lunatic fringe.
Yeah.
How, extreme groups on the right, extreme groups on the left. Now, it's really more of a sphere. It's not a straight line, it's a sphere. And their lunacy meets at some point.
Yeah.
And the violence and the chaos that they create eventually is the exact same negative thing, just for different causes.
Exactly right. Yeah, you figure at the 12 o'clock position, if you want to talk about the most idealistic possible political situation, you've got this kind of Republican individual liberty, self-responsibility, what the framers of the U.S. Constitution kind of intended and what we have improved upon and continued to steer into over the course of the American experiment. This country is headed towards the best possible political situation. These people, you get far enough out and you go all the way out and you get to the Kennedy Democrats and the Reagan Republicans, and then you get out to the Bernie Sanders people and you start coming out to the more extreme libertarian conservative causes, and eventually you get to these two groups that have almost met, and the point at which they're going to meet is the nadir of that wheel, and it's anarchy.
Yes.
If these two groups are ultimately trying to steer this country towards anarchy, meaning the very, very furthest left and the very, very furthest right, shouldn't these arrestees, 150 people showed up, about 24 got arrested, shouldn't these arrestees be looking at a similar level of consequence to those who participated in the January 6th riot?
Oh, I think so. I think both actions are the same. I would condemn what happened on January 6th at the Capitol with the same amount of animosity as I'm condemning what happened in Georgia. And this is taking it one step further. If you look at history, I'm a lover of history. In all revolutions, there's always a puppet master in the background. For example, with the French Revolution, you look at it on the surface, and it was peasants who were supposedly just fed up with the way they were treated by their king. But the puppet master was a guy named Robespierre, who they eventually cut off his head also. Because when you get that extreme, you eventually eat your own. But Robespierre was the puppet master historically in that, and I hesitate using this example, and I'm going to use one more. But if you look at, for example, Kristallnacht in Germany, so those were average German citizens that burned and crashed property and the homes of Jewish people in Germany. But what was behind it? Well, it was the Nazi Party that was behind it, ultimately Hitler. You look at the lead up to the Russian Revolution. Now, granted, the Russians were fed up with the Tsar, but what was behind it? Well, it was Vladimir Lenin and his communists. And so who's the puppet master behind this sort of thing? And I use that term puppet master intentionally to point out that there's nefarious things happening in the background.
There are people waving the baton, funding and encouraging and organizing what would otherwise have been a bunch of malcontents sitting around bitching about how they didn't like the cop training center.
Yes, and without the puppet master, they would have said, well, I guess we've solved the problem. Let's go get a beer.
So is it Soros or is it the Illuminati lizard people?
I'm kind of hoping the Illuminati lizard people, because they sound really scary.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing have been in the Valley about a decade. They're younger than some, but embrace the latest technological advances. It helps them respond sooner and fix it faster. Did you know trenchless pipe repair is a thing? Pipe repair without lawn repair. What a concept. Right now, Balanced Comfort can clean your drain for just $79. So when you need it now or before you do, remember Balanced Comfort for Plumbing in Fresno, Visalia, and Oakhurst. Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. BalancedComfort.com.
GSLB 1027-318.
Employees are tough to find. Good ones even tougher. Unless you're at the Central Valley Career Fair coming to Sierra Vista Mall March 16th. It's your chance to find some great new hires from hundreds looking to find or upgrade their future employment. This career fair is promoted to job seekers or people who may consider a change by 4 Big Valley radio stations, including this one. It's the Central Valley Career Fair March 15th from 11 till 2 at the Sierra Vista Mall, presented by the Arc of Fresno and Madera counties. To reserve your space, go to kmjnow.com.
The California Mid-State Fair is pleased to present an evening of music and wine featuring Styx. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Take a trip through the music and relive the classics live. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Get your tickets for the show. Styx, with one hit song after another. Reserve seats on sale Friday, March 10th at 10 a.m. at midstatefair.com. Styx. Don't miss Styx. Presented by the California Mid-State Fair. The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller here in the KMJ News Center. A deadly officer involved shooting in Fresno goes under the microscope. California Department of Justice now conducting its own investigation. Chief Balderrama gave the update last night, saying while he's saddened by the loss of life, he's thankful no officers were lost protecting the community. One cop was shot in his bulletproof vest Saturday night after a wanted suspect opened fire near Palm and Herndon Avenues. Officers shot back. They killed the man. Body camera video will eventually be released. A man suspected of drunk driving has been arrested for a crash that killed a big rig driver in Merced. KMJ's Liz Kern reports.
The CHP responded to the crash just before 11:30 on Monday night. Officers say 35-year-old Anthony Carrasco tried passing a big rig on the shoulder of the 99 north of O Street, but his SUV got stuck between the semi and the guardrail. The big rig jackknifed and overturned down an embankment. Officers say the 55-year-old driver from Sacramento was pinned in the cab. Despite fire and medical responders trying to free him, he died at the scene. Carrasco was not injured. He's been booked into the Merced County Jail on a felony DUI. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
People across the Central Valley on alert for another atmospheric river. A new storm is on track to hit Friday and continue through the weekend. City and county officials doing all they can now to prepare, saying the biggest threat's going to be flooding from creeks, rivers, and streams. The hope is that the 150-plus ponding basins in the Fresno, Clovis areas will be enough to deal with all that stormwater and keep flooding under control. Thousands of spring breakers expected to hit Florida beaches over the next few weeks. With fentanyl showing up more in party drugs, police have a warning for students and the dealers who target them. Fox's Rebecca Castor reports from Panama City Beach, Florida.
New canine dogs being used by the Panama City Beach Police Department to crack down on illegal drug use. Chief J.R. Talamentes says,
we used to have 4 canines, now we have 8, because we see the importance of aggressively enforcing drug crime.
Telementez says fentanyl is raising the risks for spring breakers. All officers on PCB carry Narcan, a nasal spray that can revive someone overdosing on opioids, including fentanyl. But to the dealers trying to target spring breakers,
if we identify that you have sold a narcotic that results in the death of somebody, we will seek a homicide charge against you.
In Panama City Beach, Florida, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another sunny afternoon across the valley with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at Tuesday afternoon traffic in the Fresno area, northbound 41 at McKinley, there's been a collision, unknown if there are any injuries. Westbound 168 at Temperance, no injuries involved there. In Madera, Road 36 and Avenue 14, a collision, no injuries. And in Tulare County, northbound 65 and West Teapot Dome Avenue, there are about a dozen goats running loose all over the place, including the road, and there's a possibility that more could get loose. So if you're in that area, please be very careful. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Hard water problems? Ray Appleton here with a solution. It's LifeSource Water. You'll taste and feel the difference. Click LifeSourceWater.com, 559-449-8822.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
3:05 on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi, E. Curtis Johnson here as well.
Hello.
Don't forget, the 100th anniversary documentary is coming up March 30th, 7 p.m. on Valley PBS. I was just talking with a friend about this. If you have not seen the sizzle reel, the teaser trailer for this thing, head over to KMJNow.com. Check it out. I'm really excited about this movie. This is now the second time I will have been in a radio station documentary about a place that I've barely been a contributing part of.
Pretty amazing.
March 30th, Valley PBS, set your DVR. Speaking of setting DVRs, Oscar season is on the way, isn't it?
That it is, and I think I'll be napping. Can't think of anything I'm less interested in than the Oscars.
When Ricky Gervais hosted the Golden Globes, that was the absolute pinnacle of award shows.
Why do you say that?
Because he got up there and he roasted that audience to their faces at every opportunity. That I know it's just his bit, it's his shtick to do the I don't care where I am and what I'm doing thing. It was so good. He made fun of them for being preening self-important schmucks. He made fun of them for a bunch of rich people needing to win statues to feel valid. He hit all of it. And it was, and they all sat there and laughed and just chuckled and laughed like they were in on the joke while he roasted everybody in the room all night. It was the absolute pinnacle.
Yeah, he sacrificed all their sacred cows, and not only did they eat it up, but they asked for seconds.
Oh, yeah. But I like Chris Rock. I'm sorry Chris Rock got smacked by what had been previously a man performing the world's most long-term perfect human impression.
See, I will argue that characters like Ricky Gervais, even though he's English, and Chris Rock, I think they exude what a comedian should be, and that is always laughing at what's in power. Now, you talk about the court jester, and there's some debate in history whether or not the court jester was actually allowed to call the king a fool. Probably not, but he was allowed to call everybody else in the court a fool. And in a free society, I will argue that comedians are one of the most important vessels of free speech that there is. Comedians need to have the right to offend people. And there's some people who know me who would say, how dare you say that? Well, I say that because that's what free speech means. Free speech means that you sometimes have to offend. And go ahead.
Let me, first of all, I agree with you. I think of somebody like Anthony Jeselnik, who is, if you're not familiar with his work, Anthony Jeselnik is the bluest, roughest, darkest comedian working on stage. That dude tells jokes that would have made Bill Hicks blush. He is.
Oh, well, that's saying something.
He was rough, and he's brilliant. Anthony gets away with it because I think that the reason Anthony gets away with it is because he's funny. I think if somebody like me, because I can be funny, but I'm not that funny. If somebody like me or somebody like Chris Rock walked out on stage and did Anthony Jeselnik's material, I think there would be people with torches and pitchforks waiting outside, because if you're not funny, you can't get away with it.
I'm not familiar with Anthony, but in recent times, definitely familiar with Chris Rock. Of course, we all know him for the slap, but Chris is coming out with a Netflix special. Yes, I speak for a living. I can't say Netflix. And he takes on the woke left and cancel culture. He says things like, anybody that says words hurt has never been punched in the face. Words hurt when you write them on a brick.
Yeah.
And he just takes on cancel culture. He says don't fall into the woke trap. The thing that I have a problem with is the selective outrage. Selective outrage. Boy, he's nailed that there. And then he says some words I'm not going to repeat on the radio. And he, for example, he talks about people typing woke tweets and then says, yeah, you typed your woke tweet on a phone made by child slaves.
Yeah.
Now, that is truth on the table right there. And I respect comedians so much who take on political correctness. He says you're just selling yoga pants, talking about people that are so woke and so triggered. And when comedians start taking on subjects like this, it's oftentimes the beginning of the end, because they're able to shine a light on something. They can say it in a way because they're supposed to be funny about it that makes people stop and think about, hey, what he said is absolutely true.
Yeah. When you have a guy like Chris Rock and you have a guy like Bill Maher to talk about somebody who has been nakedly politically progressive his entire career, and you see them start to, it appears because of that political Overton window that kind of guides the way media handles things, it looks like they're drifting right. They're not drifting right. Bill Maher's been saying the same stuff his whole career.
He's been pretty consistent.
Chris Rock I think that he softened a lot as he aged and he started doing more family-friendly stuff. Not to say that he got soft mentally, but just the nature of his material. He eased off. He was doing jokes that you wouldn't be horrified if your 10-year-old heard him when you walked into the room. He takes a lot harder edge in this. It sounds like. I mean, not just the F-bombs, but even in some of the jokes that he's making. He's got a line in there about watching Emancipation just to see Will Smith get his back that only Chris Rock could get up there and drop on an audience.
Yeah, who else could say that?
I think it's a positive thing when you've got that many people going, wow, this is really refreshing, except for the part where they think it's really refreshing instead of what these folks have been doing all along.
Yeah, good point. And he says things, he says, don't fall into the woke trap. The thing I have a problem with is the selective outrage. And, I mean, the right is guilty of that also.
Yeah.
But certainly with wokeness right now, the left is carrying that far more than the right.
James Carville. I don't. You guys know him. You've seen him because he's a political commentator that I think has been around since Moses walked down the hill with the tablets. For the life of me, the best description I can give if you're trying to pull a face out of your mind's eye, it looks like somebody gave Hunter S. Thompson's skeleton a joint and a cup of coffee.
Yeah, James Carville. I heard someone say it looked like somebody washed one of Jim Henson's Muppets in too much hot water.
Carville has started teeing off on wokeness. I would say now about 30% of the time you see him in the media, whether it's a replay of something that he said on Fox News or it's original content even on CNN or MSNBC. He's banging this drum. We've got to stop listening to the wokey, fringy thought police and just start dealing with things that people actually care about again. If Rock's saying it is great, Chris Rock saying it is great, Bill Maher saying it, fine. When you get somebody like Carville, who's actually a political strategist, he's not a comedian. His job for decades was to help people win elections. Is that the point at which the Democrats need to sit up and pay attention?
Well, I hope so, because, in my opinion, obviously, but it's certainly far too out of control. It's reached the point where it stifles free speech. Free speech is dangerous. Free speech is shouting fire in a crowded room.
Yeah.
And when someone's feelings become more important than the truth, when someone's feelings become more important than an honest conversation about what's happening in society, we're on the wrong track.
We're absolutely on the wrong track. It's interesting to see Chris Rock dip into that because the genesis of all this was the slap. I mean, he does like an hour of material. Just talking about this thing between him and Will Smith. Does Will Smith become the avatar for the easily triggered? I think he does.
I think there's better examples than that. I think Will got caught in his pride. I mean, he's sitting there with his wife. He knows the camera's on him. Chris says a line. I see that as a very, very different thing than most wokeness.
Yeah.
Because Chris didn't make a joke about a subject in general. Chris Rock made a joke about his wife in front of the both of them. There's a huge difference between singling out an individual and discussing an idea in general terms.
I agree. I do agree with you. And I don't do a lot of celebrity stuff, so I haven't really talked about all of the like bizarre stuff that's gone on in Will Smith and Jada Smith's marriage, but they've been going through a bad time. She has not been a particularly faithful or diplomatic partner. And I think in Will Smith's effort to continue to maintain this mask of being like, the perfect American, he's always the good guy. He's always nice. He's always smiling. He's always got a minute to, give somebody a fist bump or a word of encouragement. The break in that dam, it was just such a strange thing to see. I thought it was a bit when it first happened.
So did I.
I thought it was a joke. And the fact that Rock just kept up there and kept talking speaks to his professionalism because although he makes the line, of course, I couldn't hit him back because one thing my mother taught me is don't fight in front of white people.
I didn't hear that. That's funny.
I'm glad to see Chris Rock is back out and working. I'm glad to see he's not letting this get him down. Because of the extreme difference in what was going on with Will Smith versus the thought police. So that's what they are. They're the thought police. These are the people that run around and tell us all what we are and are not allowed to say.
Yes.
Does that division, does that clear line get muddied at all? Or do you think that Rock gets the point across that we got to stop? We got to pull off of that?
Well, when major networks are covering what a comedian is saying on a Netflix comedy special, he's crossed over into the mainstream of America. And I'm dating myself here, but this is equivalent to back in the 70s when you suddenly had mainstream media quoting George Carlin. Because George Carlin, for that generation, called out wokeness, even though that wasn't invented at the time. But he certainly called out political correctness. That wasn't invented at the time. But he held a mirror to society and said, I'm not the clown, you're the clowns, laugh at yourselves.
One of my great disappointments that ties to George Carlin is that Will Smith never narrated Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know if you're familiar with the children's program, Thomas the Tank Engine.
I'm sorry, I am not.
Oh, it started over, it was an English program. It was originally narrated by Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr is the only narrator of Thomas the Tank Engine to not be controversial in some way or another. After Ringo, it was George Carlin. After George Carlin, it was Alec Baldwin.
Whoa.
They could have absolutely hit for the cycle. Just get Will Smith to come in and do a special.
And taking a look at afternoon traffic out near Los Banos at Eucalyptus Road and Palm Avenue. There's been a collision and emergency vehicles were called to the scene. There were injuries. In Tulare County, northbound 65 at West Teapot Dome Avenue, there are goats running loose in the road, so be very careful there. In Madera, Road 36, Avenue 14, there has been a collision with no injuries. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron
This
McCary.
report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends 4/15. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where your prints are perfect guaranteed.
Attention Fresno, Semper Solaris is ready to install your solar now and complete your paperwork in time for NEM2. They have teams working around the clock 7 days a week and have processed over 35,000 applications and counting. More than any solar company in California. No one works harder than Semper does with esprit de corps and honor. Go solar American style. Declare your independence with Semper Solaris, your local and veteran-owned solar contractor who gets the job done right. Imagine no money out of pocket, no payments until 2024. Call 559-242-1800. Worried about blackouts? Tesla and Enphase batteries are in stock. Plus, Semper offers new furnace and AC systems with a lifetime warranty and new roofs with a 50-year warranty. Don't wait. Get your solar system installed by Semper Solaris before net metering changes and rates go up even more. For all offers, call 559-242-1800 or visit sempersolaris.com. Unapproved credit expires 3/31/23. CSLB number 978152.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Webb, HICAP Program Manager at Valley Caregiver Resource Center. On Saturday, March 18th, for 2 hours only, we're hosting a drive-through Senior Medicare Patrol shredding event for seniors and caregivers. This is a great opportunity to protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Bring documents with personal identification information, such as old bank statements, bills, tax returns, and outdated Medicare documents to be safely shredded. It's a drive-through event, so you don't even need to leave your car. Just bring a box that you would like to shred, and our staff members will take it from there. We'll have a mobile shredding truck immediately shred your personal document. Saturday, March 18th in the Valley Caregiver Resource Center parking lot at 5363 North Fresno Street.
Join Valley Caregiver Resource Center and protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Saturday, March 18th at 5363 North Fresno Street.
There must be some serious madness this March at the Tachi Palace because we're giving away over $400,000 in cash and prizes. Ah! People told us we were crazy, mad even, to give away over $400,000 in 1 month, but we said it would be crazy not to give away over $400,000 in 1 month. I mean, it's madness for us to give away over $400,000 this March. Just to recap, March, $400,000 madness! The Tachi Palace Casino Resort. This is 40.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia. Good Feet, the official arch support of Fresno State Athletics.
Hi, I'm Rich Krebs. I farm pistachios with my wife Lee in Madera County. Hey, here's a shocking fact. Did you know that pistachios are grown in 25 counties in California? That's totally nuts. In fact, you can't drive from Southern California to Northern California without driving through pistachio country. So pull that car over at the next stop and pick up some delicious, nutritious pistachios, sustainably grown right here in the heart of California. Our family thanks you.
Learn more from American pistachio growers at americanpistachios.org.
Can you make the payment? Of course you can. $325, $350, $375 a month. Get to own a car, where only one question matters. Can you make the payment? Choose from hundreds of cars, trucks, and SUVs, and with Own a Car's no score, no more. Valley car buyers are getting approved, and most approvals are given within 30 minutes. Can you make the payment? What are you waiting for? Just bring your pay stub and ID. Own a Car Fresno, home of the 500 down sales events, Blackstone and Bullard, or at ownacar.com.
Ownacar.com.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi, and I'm E. Curtis Johnson. You ever been scammed on the internet, Philip?
I don't think I have. I have had credit card information stolen, but not as the result of a scam, but instead as the result of buying some Ukrainian beer from a particular brewery in Kharkiv.
Oh, okay.
The start of the war, this brewery that was fairly well known in the hipster microbrew circle, they one of the things that they had gotten popular for is they did a Vladimir Putin beer with a I can't say the name of the beer on the radio.
Gotcha.
And the label looked like something out of a Fever Dream by Ralph Steadman. It was spectacularly offensive. And when Russia invaded, they stopped bottling beer and they started making industrial scale production Molotov cocktails. And so I went to their website and I bought a 6-pack of beer and told them not to ship it to me, to fill it with gasoline and give it to somebody who knew where to put it. I don't regret the choice to do that. I am very glad that my credit card comes with all the fraud protection it does, because like 3 months later, I had $500 in random charges from Russia.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I know exactly what happened there. I just canceled the credit card and everything's fine. And Capital One got it too. The lady on the phone thought the Molotov cocktail thing was funny.
Well, I know for a fact neither one of us have been scammed by any online fitness programs.
No, and this is a wonderful cautionary tale of, hey, everybody, not everything on the internet is exactly what it represents itself to be.
I'm shocked.
It's not quite a catfishing story, but it could have been. Brittany Dawn Davis, also known as Brittany Dawn, was sued by the Texas State Attorney General's office back in February of 2022. She's accused of deceptive business practices. She had built a following on Instagram in particular, but across social media, where she was promising to deliver specialized fitness plans, like tailored fitness plans, and to participate in one-on-one coaching with her clients. And she was charging people between $90 and $300 for the service. The problem is Ms. Brittany Dawn was sending people generic workout plans, and her personalized instruction was little messages like, "You go, girl."
Well, that's personal right there.
Yeah. She has about 1.3 million followers on TikTok, another 500,000 over on Instagram. And the lawsuit alleges that depending upon the plan that the customer selected, they were supposed to receive daily or weekly training by email along with one-on-one individualized coaching. However, nothing was individualized, and Ms. Brittany Dawn was not actually participating in one-on-one coaching with the majority of her would-be clients. In the court filings, she denies, quote, generally every allegation made by the Texas Attorney General. Boy, if that doesn't sound like a guilty person hedging.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Her defense is just as vague as her promised customized fitness plans.
Yeah. And even when she did get around to acknowledging customer complaints, she only ever gave partial refunds. And if you wanted a refund, you had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. This chick knew what she was doing. She was scamming these people, and when they called her out, made enough of a stink, I'll send you $50 and you sign this NDA. I'm fascinated by the whole world of influencers. Like, I understand why a brand would go to somebody like Ryan Reynolds or Kristen Bell, somebody who's actually famous, and ask them to endorse a product or to promote something. Even like the Kardashians, I get it. Kim Kardashian's got almost as many followers as Donald Trump on social media. I know why you go to that person and say, hey, will you tell people you really love my hairspray? And I understand why you might pay $1 million to get them to do it. I don't understand how some random chick from East Texas develops this kind of a following. I mean, she's cute, but she's not Hollywood cute.
Well, I'll take it to the extreme and answer your question on that. It's because you're not naive and gullible.
Is it that simple?
I think it is. I mean, just the word itself, an influencer, kind of innocuous.
Yeah.
But you have people who have oftentimes way too much time on their hands. In some cases with these influencers, it appears they have no moral I shouldn't say no moral compass, but they don't have much of a moral compass. So what are they doing? They're turning to the internet for life's answers. That's a scary statement on humanity. And I'm not saying that there's anything bad about having a website or trying to make money on the internet or selling a ware or a service or anything like that. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I support the free market. If somebody thinks they can make money doing it, then by all means, you certainly have the right to do so.
But if I find E. Curtis Johnson Talent Coach on Instagram, and I've been following you for a while, and I like what you've got to say, and you start offering individualized talent coaching, for $300, I will listen to 60 minutes of air checks, and I will give you my professional feedback as a broadcast manager with X number of years experience. And I send you $300 and a link to an hour-long air check, and I just get back, yeah, sounds good. I've got a problem.
Well, and rightfully you should.
Does somebody doing business like this, does the fact that this becomes national news, because this is one person out of this pantheon of so-called influencers. I mean, as far as fitness influencers go, there's got to be tens of thousands of people that have high 6 and low 7-figure followings on social media that promote themselves as experts in or professionals in this arena. This is one person and not a very big player. But does this reach some 17-year-old who just wants to look good in a bathing suit by summer? Or is this simply a matter of curiosity that, well, they got one?
Well, could be either of those. But I'd argue that it's a statement on what's one of the things wrong with our society today, that we want something for nothing. We expect great results for very little effort. I mean, to the naivete to think that by answering something on TikTok that you're somehow going to end up with sculpt abs for very little effort. It speaks to that, and I think that's a huge problem in our society across the world, not just America.
But I really want somebody to tell me how I can do it without eating salad.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, there's new hope for Madera Community Hospital. Doors closed in December, leaving thousands without access to emergency services. But a California State Assembly member says she's introduced legislation several weeks ago that to get it reopened and prevent this from happening again. The bill would provide emergency funding to all hospitals in the same boat or at risk of closing. A final vote is expected as early as September. Registration's open for this year's Fresno Polar Plunge. Those wanting to jump into chilly Millerton Lake must raise at least $125. The money helps fund free Special Olympic programs for children and adults with intellectual disabilities. The event's going to be held next Saturday, the day after St. Patrick's Day. It starts at 10 a.m., includes games and entertainment. Participants encouraged to dress in costumes. A first-of-its-kind lawsuit's been filed in Texas by women who are seeking accountability by lawmakers for the state's abortion bans. Fox's Matt Napolitano reports.
The Center for Reproductive Rights filing the suit on behalf of 5 women and 2 obstetricians related to overlapping abortion bans in Texas, particularly pointing to the medical emergency exceptions in all 3 laws, which have resulted in widespread confusion.
No one should be forced to wait until they are at death's door to receive health care.
Center for Reproductive Rights CEO Nancy Northup outside the Texas Capitol building in Austin, joined by some of the women suing over their experiences with reproductive health care following the reversal of Roe v. Wade, like Lauren Hall, whose doctor forced her to seek life-saving measures out of state.
She suggested a few states that didn't have abortion bans, but told us that she would not be able to send our records or make a referral. We were completely on our own.
Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another sunny afternoon across the valley with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ.
With
I'm
news
Justin
on the
Willis.
hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at traffic conditions, a couple of incidents in Tulare County, northbound 65 at West Teapot Dome Avenue. We have some loose goats running around in the road. Also, the 26,000 block of Road 164, there's been a collision with unknown injuries. Out by Las Banas at Eucalyptus Road and Palm Avenue, there's been a collision with injuries. Emergency vehicles went on scene. With KMJ Traffic for Greg Lane, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
Sure, he's been in business for 18 years, but there are still some of you, shame, who have not seen Lou Rodman's Patio Bar Stool and Amish Emporium. Brand new for him right next to Fashion Furniture across from Lowe's. Let's talk. The finest outdoor furniture manufacturer in the country is OWLE. It's been a little hard to get, but now, daily, new deliveries of outdoor furniture from OWLE are winding up at Lou's Place. This line is not bargain basement or cheap, no, but for the discerning outdoor type who loves their outdoor furniture as much as their indoor furniture. 2 names, Lou Rodman and OWLE. That's it. And who would have thought Amish furniture would have exploded like it has? This is the part where I mention how much I love my Amish rocking chair. But the Amish are producing furniture for every room in the house for Lou Rodman. Bar stools, indoor and outside. Dining sets from everywhere, including Amish and affordable contemporary pieces for your dining room. There is, in this state, no other store like it. Lou Rodman's Patio Bar Stool and Amish Emporium. Open 7 days a week.
It's the annual spring parking lot sale at Bedrosian's Tile and Stone. Now through March 11th only, you get the lowest prices on their highest quality products for your home's new look. So don't fall for discounts on low quality or misleading prices from the big box stores. At Bedrosian's, save big on top quality porcelain tile, luxury vinyl, engineered wood, granite, quartz, and more. Ask about 0% financing. It's Bedrosian's annual spring parking lot sale on Sean Marty behind Chili's in Fresno. Bedrosian's Tile and Stone.
We always fix what you need fixed on Old House of Clovis.
Hey y'all, this is Gabe Navarro with a pro tip from Auto House of Clovis.
Your vehicle is one of your biggest investments and one of the few items you need to be able to depend on. Your vehicle has been there for you through thick and thin, and we intend to keep it that way. We know times are a little uncertain these days, but our commitment to quality, reliable service is always guaranteed. At Auto House of Clovis, we aim to make the not-so-enjoyable process of automotive repair as easy as possible, so your only worry is what to make for dinner. Give our team a call at 559-292-2028. And if you're looking to join Daryl and his team, we're taking applications for technician positions of all skills and interests.
We always fix what you need fixed. Auto House of Clovis.
Got a cybersecurity problem? For security breaches, network penetration testing, regulatory compliance, and incident response. Breadcrumb Cybersecurity. Breadcrumb, because evidence is everywhere.
It just takes one stable relationship with a caring adult to help reverse the negative impacts on a child who's experienced abuse or neglect. For foster youth, childhood trauma causes more than physical and emotional pain. It can also lead to lifelong health problems. The good news is that it takes just one CASA, a court-appointed special advocate, to make a difference. Find out how you can help at californiacasa.org today.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you earn doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, though, see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Selma Swap. Buy or sell cars, parts, and big boy toys. March 18th, Highway 99 at Mountain View. 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. SelmaSwap.com.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive continues right now. Here's Philip and E.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi's there. I'm E. Curtis Johnson. Philip, I'm going to start this next segment out saying something I don't actually even believe.
Okay.
I'm just going to shine a light on a very, very dark subject with a quick story. So in 5th grade, I had the hots for this girl in my class. I don't even remember her name. But I had this passionate burning at 11 years old for this girl. And so I expressed my affection in the only way I knew how to at 11 years old. I took a whip that I had made from my leatherworking class in Cub Scouts, and I chased her down the street after school one day, swinging my whip at her.
Oh, my.
Now, the next day, I'm sitting in class, and there's a knock at the door, and it's the principal.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls me out, and he has the girl right there. And he confronts me with what I've done. And he asked me, "Did you do this?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he asked me why. Well, at 11 years old, I couldn't express the fact that, well, I got it bad for her, or whatever the language was at that time. Instead, I had nothing to do but apologize and say I would never do it again. My parents were never called, ever. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily the right way to handle everything, and maybe society has changed. But what I did as an 11-year-old young man was wrong.
Yeah.
But I was 11 years old. It's 5th grade, for crying out loud. And there are occasionally altercations that happen in the school system. We have some local ones that have happened recently. So here's the part where I'm going to say something I may not even necessarily believe. But are we expecting school systems to solve the problems created by the human nature of adolescence, i.e. altercations at schools? Does that make sense?
Your question makes sense. And I think that the answer is some people do expect that, yes. Because there are people in our society, unfortunately, who believe that it is the responsibility of the institution of public education to provide everything for a child except for the bed they sleep in. And there's even people in society who would say that schools should plan to provide that as well for children who aren't getting it through their families. What you did was a dumb kid thing to do. And had you actually made contact with her, had you actually hurt her, Her parents would have called your parents. I'm guessing that your parents would have been pretty heavy-handed about you cracking a whip across the, some girl's shoulder blades or whatever.
Oh, yeah, they would have probably taken the whip to me.
If I had struck a girl or injured a girl at 10 or 11 or 12 years old, yeah, absolutely. Both of my folks would have rung my bell over that. That was no-fly zone, man. I don't know if you ever got into fights with any other boys in school. I did. And those fights, at least in my experience, were usually pretty evenly matched. I got my butt kicked a couple times, and I deserved it. And I kicked a couple people's butts a couple of times. Whether or not they deserve it is up to them to decide. All of that's 40 years in the past or 30 years in the past. But they were fights. It was two people punching each other in the nose. What we're seeing now is not two people punching each other in the nose. And this story out of Bullard High School, Dominica Powell and her daughter Addie, we didn't have a fight. We didn't have two kids punching each other in the nose over a boy. We had a female wrestler attack a female cheerleader with whom she had no previous engagement, knock her to the ground and kick her in the skull repeatedly. Wasn't a fight, wasn't a fair fight. It was a beating. It was a battery. The school cannot be expected to police all of the evil in the world, and I don't think anybody ever suggested that they should. The way that the school has responded or really not responded to people simply wanting reassurance that they take it seriously and that they have a plan to address it, it's been a shocking disappointment how dismissive, in particular, Nikki Henry, the communications officer from the Fresno Unified School District, has been, although I've gotten nothing back from Bob Nelson. I've gotten nothing back from Armand Tarigian, the principal of Bullard High, where this first two fights happened. The response that I got from Trustee Wittrup was first this very snotty blow-off, and then later a more reasonable boilerplate answer. The school can't be expected to police every ill in the world. If a child commits a crime on the school campus, should the school be referring that to law enforcement for prosecution? And I think the answer is very obviously yes. If two guys our size get mad at each other and punch each other in the nose, I don't know. Do you involve the cops? Probably not. If I go grab Ron McCary and throw him on the ground and kick him in the face, that seems like a really clear case to get the police involved.
Yeah, fair points. I would, for the sake of discussion, I would argue one point though. If you and I got into it as adults, we would be potentially held accountable.
Oh, sure,
legally.
Sure, but I use you and I as an example because you and I are both big guys. You and I, all things being equal, is probably a pretty fair fight. This wasn't a fair fight. This was a wrestler taken out a cheerleader.
Point taken. Excellently stated.
What's compounded this is the school responded very poorly at first. You had a vice principal whose response to a mother who is still very much in shock because she's in the nurse's office picking up her daughter who just got kicked in the head repeatedly. When she's asking, what are you going to do about this? How are you going to make sure my daughter's safe? The response she got was, I can't follow your kid around campus all day. It's not a good answer. And when approaching the district for an explanation of how something like this would be handled, because they can't talk about the kids, they can't name their names, they can't talk about the specific discipline. There's all these laws that come from state of California and beyond that say you can't disclose private information about minors.
Of course, as it should be.
As it should be. Well, and look, the perpetrator of the battery is a minor child. This person has potential with punishment, direction, and structure to go on with her life and never make this mistake again. And she deserves the opportunity to have been a stupid kid doing a dumb thing, to learn from it, and to move on. Fresno Unified won't even simply say, yes, we refer criminal battery to the police. yes, we are taking this seriously, and we are planning to deal with this on campus. So now it turns out that the victim of the battery has transferred out of Bullard High School. She's gone. She's not coming back to a Fresno Unified school ever. She's got 3 years of high school left, and she's got to go find a new cheerleading team. She's got to go find a new friend group. She's done. The young woman who initiated the fight and kicked this kid in the head is back on campus this week. She got suspended for a week. And so far, that seems to be the sum total of what's going on. And the response from Fresno Unified is, well, we're offering all the supports that we can, except that they've offered no real support to the victim because the victim's been pulled out of school because Fresno Unified won't answer a question directly. So now you've got this situation. Meanwhile, I just got video from a parent in Central of what is allegedly a very violent fight on the El Capitan Middle School campus. And it's two boys beating the daylights out of each other. Now, I'm very curious, and I'm intending to reach out to Central Unified to ask them the same questions to see what the response is from a different school district when you've got video being promoted on social media of an on-campus act of violence like that. Because I don't think that I'm going to get the same answer that I got from Fresno Unified.
Okay, so here's a question, and I'll really stir it up for the sake of discussion. So is the school not responding because they're damned if they do and damned if they don't? Because they're maybe on advice of counsel, they're told not to talk to the media? And as media, are we acting in the best interests of these students, or are we acting in the best interests of being a media outlet and insisting that the public has a right to know what's happening in public schools?
Those are both excellent questions. And we got to go to traffic, so I'll respond when we get back.
Sounds good.
C. Curtis Johnson, I'm Philip Teresi. This is your Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
And near Porterville in Tulare County, Road 236, Avenue 56, there has been a collision with no injuries. In the Los Banos area, Eucalyptus Road and Palm Avenue, a collision earlier this hour led to ambulances being called to the scene due to injuries. The bad news regarding Highway 168, it's still closed, but the good news is it is expected to reopen tomorrow. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big, or you save. It's the perfect time to help your favorite teacher stock their classroom. Save 25% on classroom decor, plus 2-ounce bottles of Purell hand sanitizer at just 49 cents. In-store only, offer ends $3.11. Hurry to Staples today.
Got an old or unused vehicle you need to get rid of? Donate it to the original carsforkids.org. Towing is free, and you'll be helping kids in our communities. Carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity, impacting the lives of kids thanks to your vehicle donations. Carsforkids.org picks up vehicles in any condition, and you'll receive a $50 gift card. Don't delay. Donate today.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. With no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. With the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
Coming soon, Saturday, March 18th, Fig Garden Rotary Annual Charity Auction. This is a don't-miss event. Enjoy an exciting evening of hors d'oeuvres, dinner, and entertainment, along with silent and live auction at the elegant Fort Washington Country Club. While knowing your attendance will help support many charitable causes in our local local community, including Veterans Honor Flight, Assistance League, and River Camp for Kids. Rotary has helped so many organizations. Fig Garden Rotary, Charity Auction and Dinner, Saturday, March 18th. Get tickets now at Murphy Bank in Fig Garden Village.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way.
Receive a free in-home water test by visiting CulliganFresnoLindsay.com.
It's time for another game of Solar Squabble, and boy, do we have a show for you. Get ready to jump through hoops and be underwhelmed by our company. Solar for you. Ready to play?
The game's over. Getting the right system at the right price can be easy with Energy Concepts. Tired of price hikes and high energy bills? Talk to our experts now to see how much you could save this summer with the right solar solution for your home or business. Calling Energy Concepts the highest rated elite SunPower dealer in the Valley? Now that's a power move.
Coming soon from Valley PBS, the exclusive documentary film covering 100 years of KMJ. Stay tuned for details.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi is there. My name's E. Curtis Johnson. Where is the limit between a media's right to get an answer, all with the best intentions, and a person's, especially if they're a minor, right to privacy? Where is the limit on that? I'm not sure I know the answer, but I'm crazy enough on my second day on the job to ask the question.
So, first of all, I want to be clear. These children have a right to their privacy, not just under the law, but in my opinion, as a matter of good moral and ethical practice. The only reason that I've even used Addie's first name is because her mom has used her first name in other media contexts. And
Understood.
so I have the permission of the mother and the blessing of the child to use her first name only. The other kid's name, I've got it. I've got a 3-page letter that kid wrote. I've never uttered a syllable of her name because I believe that this child, as a child, besides the law, which doesn't actually apply to me in this case, I believe the law is correct. I don't want to ruin either of these children's lives. I do believe that a child who behaves in a way that is incompatible with good order and safety on a school campus must be held accountable. They must be punished. They must be disciplined. They must receive the structure that they need to not repeat that error. As far as your very legitimate questions, is the school trying to minimize this so that people will settle down and stop talking about it so campus can get back to order? I'd like to believe that that was the case. The nature of the response that I got wasn't, hey man, we're trying to get all these kids back on track. Yes, we take this seriously. Here's the stuff we do to deal with it. It was, well, if you were a real journalist, you would have researched this yourself.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. No. The responses that I got were not professional, hey, we're trying to keep things calm here. It was, screw you for asking. Which becomes a second issue in and of itself, that a publicly funded public school district will not speak to the public.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
In terms of the role of the media and are you promoting public good or are you engaging in self-service? That's a tough question because I don't think that the two are necessarily mutually exclusive. I think that when you are calling upon people in a position of authority and power and responsibility to speak to that in a way that is accessible to all of the people that sign their paycheck by virtue of paying their taxes, the media self-service becomes secondary. It may exist, but I think that it's a secondary consideration to demanding that people in a position of power respect both the power that they have and the community that granted it to them. But in terms of this situation with Fresno Unified, what happened with those two girls, what happened with the three boys in the second video that I was sent 4 days later, necessarily is private. The school district refusing to give a straight answer to simple questions like, what is the Fresno Unified School District policy for dealing with acts of violence on campus? That's another problem that needs to be highlighted. You need to be, if you are a communications officer making $150,000 a year at a school district, you should know that answer off the top of your head.
Well, and it also makes sense that a public school district should be able to produce public policies.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly there has to be printed material, some guidelines, policies that a school district is following, not just making up the rules as they go along.
Exactly right, and those things do exist. Unfortunately, in the case of Fresno Unified, what I got was a link to a bunch of policies instead of an answer to the specific questions asked. So in the case of what we're now learning may have occurred on the campus of El Capitan, I need to get a second verification that that's where this video comes from. I'm going to ask the same questions as Central because I'm curious to see. We've got two other major school districts right here in town. I want to know when a similar situation presents itself if I get told to get bent like I did when I emailed Fresno Unified. Because again, as taxpayers, we all have an interest in these schools doing their jobs.
Well stated, and information is many things. It's not just news.
That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 800-730-8405 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check. As easy as, that's 800-730-8405.
Research shows listeners prefer a personalized experience. So to help you remember, Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance. We personalized this ad for Amber, who really misses boy bands from the 90s.
Hey girl, I'm the cute one, here to tell you how Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I'm the heartthrob. The only thing I love more than you is saving. And I'm the other boy in the band everyone forgot about.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Wait, you own a sign company? And you want us, A+ signs, to make your signs?
Yeah, I need them really fast, and we can't touch our turnaround times. And we can't even do stuff A+ signs does. Big monument signs, automated channel letters, LED signs. So you're not worried about making signs for a competitor, are you?
Nah, we're good.
A+ Signs creates, installs, and services some of the most recognized signs throughout California. Just search A+ Signs and check us out online. For signs that stop traffic, drive traffic, and even direct traffic, call A+ Signs.
Every piece of land has a story, written by those who work it. But everyone's story is different. So the question is, how will you tell yours? Behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, mower, or Gator utility vehicle. Run with us and start telling your story today.
Stop by one of our Lawrence Tractor locations in Visalia, Tipton, or Hanford, or visit us online at lawrencetractor.com.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. This news update sponsored by Best Concrete Blocks, the old Fresno company with new ideas. Evacuation warnings are issued ahead of winter storms for parts of Fresno County, including foothill communities and lower elevations prone to flooding. KMJ's Liz Kern reports on the storm meeting held today by Fresno County.
Fresno County officials, along with the Sheriff's Office and California Highway Patrol, readying for the incoming storm this week. Rain falling on snow in the Sierra Nevada will potentially cause flooding. At their meeting, the Weather Service's Christian Matarocchia with an important message.
We just want everyone to be prepared. It's just really important that we communicate the severity of this situation so you can stay safe and you can get ready. The amount of rain we're receiving, considering what has already fallen, is unprecedented, countywide. It doesn't matter if you're in the mountains, if you're in the city of Fresno, if you're in the western half of the county near Coalinga. We are expecting water problems to really affect everyone's life. This is not a garden variety storm. This is something, again, that will bring impacts to daily life never experienced before.
Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Merced County Sheriff's Office releasing the body cam footage of a deadly officer-involved shooting in Dos Palos. The incident occurred January 13 after a woman called in to say her boyfriend was holding her 5-year-old son captive at knife point. Deputies responded to an apartment complex on Globe Avenue near Lexington Avenue. The suspect, identified as 37-year-old Adolfo Cruz, threatened to kill himself and the child after speaking with police. A crisis negotiator attempted to defuse the situation, but Cruz refused to cooperate. The deputy fired one shot, killing him. The child was rescued, and the 13-inch knife was recovered. A federal judge in Missouri rules a state law keeping local cops from enforcing federal gun laws is unconstitutional. More from Fox's Gernal Scott.
U.S. District Judge Brian Wimes says local and state officers should be able to work and share information with task forces that investigate and act on federal crimes. The Missouri law passed 2 years ago prohibited such cooperation. The state's Attorney General, Republican Andrew Bailey, said that enforcement conflicts with a citizen's constitutional right to bear arms. Judge Wimes argued that Missouri's Second Amendment Preservation Act exposes citizens to greater harm by standing in the way of federal gun protection statutes. State Attorney General Bailey plans to appeal. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Fresno faring poorly in a new study out to the best cities for college basketball fans. Financial website WalletHub compared more than 290 U.S. cities across 9 key metrics, including number of teams per city to stadium capacity. Fresno came in 216th place. The best city for college basketball fans? Durham, North Carolina. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another sunny afternoon across the valley with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And taking a look at weather conditions, actually we're looking at traffic conditions here. Merced County, North Lake Road, East Bellevue Road. There's been a collision with no injuries. Near Porterville, Road 236, Avenue 56. There's been a collision with no injuries. Highway 168 at the bottom of the 4-lane on up is going to reopen tomorrow, but it remains closed today. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron Perry.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
KMJ's afternoon drive continues right now. Here's Philip and E.
You are a danger to both the dead and the living.
I like to think I'm a master of my own destiny.
4:07 on your afternoon drive. E. Curtis Johnson, Philip Teresi, News Talk 580, 105.9. KMJ online. You'll find us at kmjnow.com. The FM transmitter, for those of you who were missing it, it is back to full power. Nevertheless, you can also join us on 580 AM or with the new app for free. Google Play and iOS stores. Just search for KMJ Now. And as everybody who is missing the FM can testify, it sounds pretty good. And it works right this time.
Darn straight.
We were talking about last hour, we were talking about this influencer that got jammed up for basically scamming customers. Thousands of people at some point or another engaged her at a price point ranging from $50 to $300 for customized coaching and personal exercise plans and all this stuff. And she was sending generic exercise plans and notes like, "You go, girl." She's in trouble. She's been accused of all matters of fraud and malfeasance, and is probably going to end up writing a very, very big check on the other side of the trial, should the allegations proven to be true. I am convinced that there are folks who have a marginal degree of skill. They're able to create applications that look acceptable. They're good at the graphic end of it. And then I think they go out to businesses, and I don't think this is exclusive to radio. I think this is true of businesses everywhere. And they go out and they say, "I'm going to write an app for you." And I think they're selling people the exact same: click for the phone number, click for the directions, and click for the main website apps, claiming to offer people some kind of advanced technology. And I think it's one of the biggest scams nobody talks about on the internet right now.
Does that mean you've been burned?
I have not. I don't want to disclose because I don't want to get into a whole Dominion voting system situation here. I've got a friend who works for a small market radio station that may or may not be at the outer edges of the KMJ signal, who commissioned an app that turned out to be, it crashed every phone it ever ran on. It looked great. All the mock-ups looked great. And when you first installed it and opened it, it looked very professional. And it crashed every phone it was ever on. And
there's a problem.
I'm convinced that this, hey, I've got this great thing for you, and if you send me a PayPal, I'll give you the solution to life's mysteries. In the 21st century, the snake oil salesman exists on Instagram.
Well, yes, and you have the added, what's the word I'm looking for? It's easier for people to get away with fraud and deception when there's no looking people in the eye. When you are a web address, or you're a text address, or you're on somebody's Snapchat or whatever social media platform that you're on, as opposed to having an actual address in a business where a customer can come back and knock on your door and go, "Hey, this thing that you sold me is a piece of garbage."
Yeah.
But when you can hide somewhere in cyberspace, that's obviously going to, and I'm not justifying any of it. I'm not saying any of it's right. But the scammers are going to come out because they can hide better.
Oh, yeah. I think that there will be, and I think it's going to be a necessary service even for people in my generation, people who are currently in their early and mid 40s. But especially as you move up demographically into folks that are in their 50s and 60s. Not because people in their 50s and 60s can't learn technology. That's not at all what I'm saying. But because they didn't grow up with technology as a part of their formative experience. And even people my age. If your first computer was an Apple IIe, you don't interact with computers the same way as somebody whose first computer was an iPad. You just don't.
That's very true.
I think that there is going to be, at least for a little while, and I think when I say a little while, I mean the next decade or two, I think there's going to be a marketplace for a digital consultant, not a full-blown IT guy, not a social media manager, but somebody whose job is just to come in, take a look at what it is you're trying to accomplish and advise you on who is reputable and reliable to accomplish that in terms of hiring an IT company or hiring an app designer. You pay me $1,000 and I will give you an educated opinion about where you can go to get reliable service.
Well, I would argue that there will be something even, if not before, certainly after that, there will be some sort of rating standard, some sort of, I'm searching for the word here, code or symbol or affiliation that if you are affiliated with such and such a internet governing body, that your work is reputable, as opposed to people who are just operating out of their bedrooms and have no traceability.
I think that you may be right. My one hesitation, Yelp.
Oh, what a horrible name for a business.
Yelp is a perfect example of because what your idea is it's good, and it in a world where people behave ethically, it makes perfect sense. Yelp's the perfect example of how it breaks down.
No, I think it's the opposite. First of all, the reason I said what a horrible name for a business, because Yelp is the sound a wounded dog makes.
Like most of the reviews on Yelp.
Yes, whining. I'm talking about like a Better Business Bureau.
Oh, okay.
So for a Better Business Bureau of the internet. For example, lots of brick and mortar stores, you'll see in their front window, I'm a member of the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
So that is and I'm not speaking for Better Business Bureau, but just the concept of that organization. If you are a brick and mortar store or a service that is affiliated with the Better Business Bureau, and a customer has a bad experience, they can go to the Better Business Bureau, and the Better Business Bureau will say, hey, that doesn't meet our standards. I'm talking about something similar for online, all things cyber.
I wonder if the BBB will have the sense to really invest in simply continuing their model in that space, or if they're going to go the way of Sears Roebuck.
Ooh, wow. That's a good question.
The reason that I bring up Sears is Sears catalog. What was it, 150 years that people bought everything from new shoes to houses?
Yeah, you could buy a house through the Sears catalog at one point.
And Amazon came along and ate their lunch by doing exactly what they had been doing for over a century.
Hard to argue against that.
So speaking of people acting badly on the internet, the city of Oakland got hit with a nasty ransomware attack, and it turns out that some of the information that got pulled is already starting to get shared around on the dark web. A hacker group that is called Play, and I'm not sure if that's a self-imposed moniker or if that's just what the information security guys have dubbed them, have claimed responsibility for a cyber attack, compromised city systems, exposed private data, and the city's been forced to acknowledge it. They've got a post up on the website saying, moving forward, we're focusing on strengthening the security of our information technology systems. Over the weekend, the group posted a statement declaring that they've got access to personal confidential data, financial information, IDs, passports, employee IDs, and, interestingly, human rights violations.
Which is ironic, considering this is terrorism. What this entity that's holding this information hostage, it's terrorism.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Cooper Quinton is a senior staffer with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. He says that this specific group is not well known yet, but they have been flagged by some other cybersecurity groups that, of course, they share this information so that you can start to identify different hacker groups based on the code in the malware that they use, the ransomware that they use. Quinton says it looks like these guys have some ties to established ransomware groups like Conti, which was a big one last year. When you start talking about these larger and larger groups, it seems clear to me that it's usually a state-sponsored thing. It's going to be Russians, it's going to be North Koreans, it's going to be Iranians, or it's going to be Chinese. What worries me is that I don't think that our legislature has any earthly clue how any. I think this is all Greek to Dianne Feinstein. Because going back to my point about people who didn't grow up as digital natives have no concept of how this stuff works. You turn on the computer, you press the power button and put in your password.
Point taken.
I don't think that I don't think that we're playing strong enough defense. Two, I think that we're making a mistake not building a stronger offensive tool for exactly this kind of behavior. Not that I think we should be going and shutting down like Russian power grids. I'm not advocating for that. But so that we have the ability to look at intragovernmental communications in enemy states. The human asset aspect of intelligence is much smaller than the potential there.
Yeah, but how do you defend yourself? For example, there's another story that we may or may not get to about China saying things are not good between our relations with us and the United States, and we don't think they're going to get better. So when you talk about, calling, state-sponsored terrorism like this, calling a bluff, I mean, my gosh, you got the Russians in Ukraine. They don't seem to care about that any more than they would care about, hey, we don't like that, Ivan and Igor, have just hacked another American business. They don't care.
I can almost wrap my head around saying private industry has the responsibility to provide its own security. This is the city of Oakland. This is law enforcement. This is both citizen and employee data. The government can't afford to say, oh, Ivan's going to be Ivan. Which, by the way, in this case, Play, which seems to be attached to Conti, is acknowledged to be attached to Russia. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. A little bit more on this, and if you're hearing this and thinking, oh my God, it's time, what you can do or start to do to make sure that you are not the next victim of Russian or Chinese or Iranian malware attacks.
And looking at Tuesday afternoon traffic in Merced County, North Laker Road and East Bellevue Road, there's been a collision, no injuries involved. In the Visalia area, westbound 198 at the Farmersville Boulevard off-ramp, there's been a collision with no injuries. And Highway 41, chains are required at Cedar Springs Road. In the KMJ Traffic Center, I'm Ron McCary.
Inflation goes up. Do you feel like you need to refinance your car to fill up the gas tank? What if 2 years ago, someone offered to sell you a lifetime supply of gas at $2.75 a gallon, but you told them no? Today, you would be kicking yourself. Right now, Planet Solar has that same offer for you on your electric bill. As inflation goes up, so does your utility bill. Lock in your energy prices today with a new Planet Solar system. Planet Solar is locally owned and operated in Clovis. They're big enough to offer you all the best brands and in-house financing, but small enough to give you the personal service you deserve. Call Planet Solar to find out how to lock in your electricity costs today. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 559-228-9245 or find them on the web at planetsolar.com. That's 228-9245 or planetsolar.com. License number 938313.
For families impacted by dementia, you know how difficult it can be for the individual and the family. The most common goal for someone with Alzheimer's is to stay at home as long as possible. But keeping the body moving and the brain working can be a challenge. In Fresno, there's an organization that stands out for its support of seniors with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. Valley Caregiver Resource Center's OASIS Adult Day program has the knowledge and experience to provide a safe and engaging environment for your loved one while giving those providing care a needed break. Call Valley Caregiver Resource Center and ask about OASIS.
Hello, I'm Megan Velasquez, Program Manager at OASIS. Our staff has the unique experience to help families improve the quality of life for their loved one. We can help. For more information, please call 9121 or visit us online at valleycrc.org. Thank you.
Managing your online presence takes time, effort, and expertise. It can overwhelm even the savviest business owner. So, meet Cumulus Boost. We're experts at boosting the online presence for businesses of every type. We make sure potential customers can easily find you and really like what they find. Your website, online listings, consumer reviews, and more. Cumulus Boost, online at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with peak long life universal premixed antifreeze and coolant. Now just $6.99 after mail-in rebate. Limit supply. See store for details. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time to think about your tax refund. And Jackson Hewitt wants you to think biggest. As in, we guarantee you'll get your biggest refund or your money back plus $100. Who offers that? Come to think of it, nobody. It's one of the biggest guarantees out there and why you can't just file with anybody. For your guaranteed biggest refund, go to Jackson Hewitt today. Your wallet will thank you. When every dollar matters, it matters who does your taxes.
For over 60 years, we at DeBudo Defendus Insurance, a multi-generational and family-owned company, have proudly provided high-quality risk management and insurance solutions to local businesses. Thanks to the incredible work and personal touch our insurance professionals provide our clients, DeBudo Defendus has been named Central Valley's best property and casualty insurance company for 9 years running. Visit DIBU.com and get the business insurance you need today.
License number 0E02096.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. You're listening to The Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson. So I have an email account that I have had since about 1999, 1998. It's been my primary email. I have a side one that I occasionally use.
So you're the last guy on Juno?
No, and it's not AOL. It's Prodigy, which actually is owned now by AT&T.
Oh, wow.
Has been for quite some time. But occasionally I'll get somebody go, Prodigy? Oh, my gosh, you must be ancient. I didn't even know they were still around. Well, they're not. They got bought out by AT&T. But anyway, my point is it got hacked.
Yeah.
And so twice now within the last 30 days, I have had friends of mine call me saying, hey, did you really send me a request for a $50 Amazon card? And my response is, no, if it was me, I would ask you for a $100 Amazon card. But twice now, this email account has been hacked. Now, that is minor compared to what's happened to the city of Oakland.
Oh, yeah. No, what you are talking about in terms of, especially because AT&T, I think they've actually sloughed off most of their infrastructure to Yahoo at this point. Because all those old ATT.net and SBC Globals all move through the Yahoo framework, so probably Prodigy does too.
You are correct. And all the customer support is in India.
Yeah, it can be an experience. What I have learned, and this actually does relate in some ways to what happened in Oakland, because all of this stuff comes back around to compromised access. Somebody got a hold of the password. Somebody got into the account.
Yeah, they got past a firewall and all that kind of stuff.
And so in both cases, one of the solutions is two-factor authentication. And Yahoo infrastructure does allow for this. So a Prodigy, an SBC Global, and ATT.net, all of those should be able to, or even I've still got a yahoo.com address. You can go in and you can enable two-factor authentication. So you put in your username, you put in your password, and then you either have an app on your phone that gives you a code, or you get a text message with a code when you log in with the username password that you then enter in. It's like a 6 or 7 digit code, just depending upon what you got and where your account's from. And then once you put that in, you're finally granted access to the account proper. And so, like a lot of corporate IT now, it's just by default, everybody's on two-factor authentication. And you can, if you're on Microsoft, you've got the Microsoft Authenticator app. If you're on anything else, you're using Google Authenticator probably. And it's basically this revolving password that changes every 60 seconds that functions as the suspenders to the belt of the strong password that you set up when you set your account up. It's not perfect. There are ways people can get around it. A hacker group like Play is not going to go and spoof the SSID for E. Curtis's cell phone to get into the Prodigy account to see what Aunt Grace is doing back in Milwaukee this weekend. But when it comes to getting into a corporate system or a municipal system like what happened in Oakland, if they can get a hold of that SIM code, if they can spoof that number, if they can then get your password, get that authenticator code, and get into your account, if you have any level of access, they can start doing what they did in Oakland. And this is where they upload this software that not only the new ransomware doesn't just encrypt your system, it doesn't just lock up your files and demand a ransom, it downloads massive copies of data. And that's what these guys did. So the city of Oakland's locked out of their stuff, and the hackers have a copy of all that data that was never encrypted. And so that's what they're threatening to release. And the city of Oakland is, they're investigating this. They're doing everything they can to try and mitigate. They're also telling people who have been doing business with the city. I mean, this came from Carl Chan, who's the president of the Oakland Chinatown Chamber Foundation. Business owners, check your bank accounts regularly. Your information has been compromised. And that's one of the big dangers. The other is you've got information that pertains to law enforcement activity. You could have an ongoing investigation, and now these hackers have that info. There's a few criminals out there that would gladly download themselves a Tor browser and go see what the cops have been up to and trying to dig up dirt.
Well, not to mention HIPAA violations. There's personal information that the city has about their employees, accounts that could be hacked, bank accounts being drained. I mean, this is a terrible thing. You thought the Oakland A's were in bad shape. This is awful.
Well, and what makes it even more frustrating, anything that man can build, man can break. Any lock that can be designed by a human engineer can eventually be unlocked by another human, given the time, the resources, and the intelligence to play with it. That's part of where something like two-factor authentication is really, really valuable for guys like you and me that just don't want somebody getting into our Hotmail accounts. In the case of a municipal entity or a corporate entity, they need to be running security updates as soon as they're available and vetted, because of course there's always, God bless Microsoft, they'll send off a security update that deletes all the apps off your desktop, nonsense like that. And if you're a business owner and you don't know how to do this, you need to hire somebody. Go to Breadcrumbs Cybersecurity, go to JIT Outsource, find one of these local firms and get them to come in and make sure that your security updates are current, to make sure that you're using two-factor authentication on your internal systems, and to make sure your employees know how to identify phishing attacks and spear phishing attacks. You now have to play active defense if you have a system that's connected to the internet, because the alternative is you don't connect your system to the internet ever. That's the only other way to avoid this total air gap.
Yeah, which is impossible. I mean, look at the amount of business we all do in cyberspace and online. Call it whatever you want. We can't go back to those days. Nobody knows where a rotary phone is even, let alone a world without connectivity.
I agree with you. And in the case of a municipality, I mean, just think about the stuff that we do here in Fresno. I pay my water bill online. Now, I really don't care. If you guys want to know that my water bill last month was $86.90, there you go. My water bill.
You waster, you.
I got a pool. What are you going to do? But look, if you really care that much about my water bill, God bless you. That's what I spent on it. I have no earthly clue what that translates to in terms of actual use. I just know it was less than $100, so I'm fine. But you think about all the contractors that are doing business with the city, because my information is not interesting. I didn't save my credit card. I do a little. I do the bill pay on my bank to pay my city bill. But how many contractors work for the city? How many people are attached where they do have their taxpayer ID number, their social security number, their bank account number saved? To not be employing best practices as a city, as a county, is a terrible mistake. And there's one group that I think this is actually good for. The people who designed LifeLock.
Tell more.
Yeah, if you're off buying life insurance, if you're buying homeowners insurance, if you've got automobile insurance, why wouldn't you buy identity protection insurance at this point? Just to be safe, because because the city of Oakland, you're talking about probably tens of thousands of people who have been compromised, maybe hundreds of thousands of entities compromised. When it happened to T-Mobile, it was like 300 million people. Names, phone numbers, social security numbers, account numbers, and payment information. I think that eventually it's just going to be one of those things that you just spend $20 a month forever to make sure that when it happens, because I don't think it's an if anymore, when it happens, there's somebody there to pick up the pieces for you.
Good point. Yeah, you're right. It at the rate it's going, it's just like car insurance. You have to have identity protection, just like you have car insurance.
The only reason I'm scared to talk about it, like car insurance, is I'm scared to death that Wiener up in Sacramento is going to write a law to make it mandatory for all of us.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. A meeting was held Tuesday to discuss the incoming storm that'll see potential flooding due to rain that'll be falling on snow in the Sierra Nevada. During the meeting, it was announced that Highway 168, which was closed due to snow, will reopen tomorrow. It's great news for the people living in the Shaver Lake and Huntington Lake areas, as well as those wanting to ski at China Peak. There's significant rain in the forecast starting Thursday night, which has the potential of flooding for the lower elevations. If you plan to travel in the area, be sure you check out road conditions. Lawmakers investigating the COVID origin still want answers from Dr. Anthony Fauci about the Wuhan lab leak theory. Fox's Mike Emanuel explains from Washington.
The chairman of a House Select Subcommittee looking into the origin of COVID-19, Ohio Republican Brad Wenstrup, a medical doctor, says it's critical to get to the truth.
I want to be able to predict a pandemic, prepare for a pandemic, and also protect us from a pandemic and maybe even prevent one.
His subcommittee is asking questions about why top public health officials like Dr. Anthony Fauci and former National Institutes of Health Director Dr. Francis Collins were trying to shoot down the theory that COVID-19 escaped from a Wuhan, China lab. Congressional investigators have uncovered emails they consider evidence making that case. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Former Raiders and Fresno State quarterback Derek Carr signing with the New Orleans Saints. ESPN reports they were one of 3 teams to pursue Carr after the Raiders allowed the 31-year-old to possibly facilitate a trade. He was released by the Raiders February the 14th. Again, Derek Carr is headed to the Saints. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet, so please be prepared. Otherwise, another sunny afternoon across the valley today with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s, overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And this traffic report is sponsored by Table Mountain Casino Resort. We're looking at a couple of areas here in the Visalia area, westbound 198 At the Farmersville Boulevard off-ramp, there's been a collision, unknown injuries there. And Highway 145, this is west of Fresno at West Belmont Avenue, a collision with no injuries. Here's another way to win this March at Table Mountain Casino Resort. You can win a stoneware set. And a stoneware set. On Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight, earn 900 points playing with your rewards card. If you qualify, you win. Pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. Your next adventure is at Table Mountain Casino Resort. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Let me tell you about salt. It goes on a big old fat ribeye. It does not belong in your water. Hey again, Ray Appleton here, and I want to tell you about something better than a softener, which uses a lot of salt. It's a LifeSource salt-free, whole home water system. I have one. I love it. So does my neighbor. He just got it. He's thrilled. You are going to have the best water humanly possible coming out of every tap in your home. And with LifeSource, there's zero maintenance. There's no filters. There's no salt. There's no servicing. They install it, and then you just forget about it and love it. I mean, come on. LifeSource does so much more than softeners without salt. Ugh. And LifeSource is now offering new customers a free Apapure antibacterial filter. That's a savings of $825 big ones, or dollars if you prefer. This offer will end very soon. Why don't you call 559-330-1850 to claim that free Apapure, with a qualifying purchase, of course. Click lifesourcewater.com, 559-330-1850. Oh, you will taste and feel the difference, no doubt.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia. Good Feet, the official arch support of Fresno State Athletics.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. The sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I'd need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning. You've decided to remodel your home or you're building new. Where to start? Creative Tile is your one-stop shop for all your project needs. Let them help you with decisions like backsplash, flooring, countertops, shower tile, and more. Creative Tile is located in an historic building that used to be a USO club during World War II with beautiful, unique tile, wood flooring, luxury vinyl flooring, solid surface countertops, and the star of the show, porcelain slabs. Progress and technology make porcelain slabs take on many textures and finishes so they can look like marble, concrete, limestone, travertine, granite, leather, and more. They come in large slabs and can be used for anything in your home, so you can have that shower that looks like a Roman bath with no grout lines and no slippery surfaces. They also come pre-sealed, so no maintenance. Come see for yourself. Creative Tile on Palm, north of Herndon, just west of the German automobile dealers, or visit them at mycreativetile.com.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
There are so many reasons to get hooked on Church's 8-piece shrimp meal. It's dippable, crunchable, downright irresistible, and it starts at $5.99. The only catch? It's only here for a limited time. Church's Texas Chicken. Welcome to the great state of flavor.
This is KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
I guess it would be wrong to say, what he just said, but it is KMJ 5A1059. My name is E. Curtis Johnson. Philip Teresi is in the room. I'm a sucker for a good political fight.
Yeah.
And we have a brouhaha coming down the pipe here, and it's in the form of DeSantis in one corner and Governor Newsom in another. I have been I don't want to say a student, but a follower of politics since I was probably about 10 or 11.
Really?
Well, yeah, I've always been interested in politics and watching campaigns. And you can pretty much predict who the next presidential candidates are going to be based on a couple of things. One of which one of those factors that you can measure by is who they pick fights with. And you got DeSantis, of course, from Florida, taking shots at Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom's taking shots at DeSantis. Two big states. I mean, California's got 39 million people. Florida's got 21 million people. This is no small battle brewing. But the backstory on it is last year Newsom challenged DeSantis to a bait. The pair have been snipping at each other ever since. But we have the battleground being on California. For example, DeSantis was recently visiting the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library just outside of Simi Valley, which if you've not been to the Reagan Presidential Library, please go.
Yeah.
I've been a couple of times, definitely worked the trip, but that's a side note. So DeSantis on California soil takes a shot, not across the bow of Governor Newsom, but right through the bow of Governor Newsom, and says, we've witnessed a great American exodus from states governed by leftist politicians imposing leftist ideologies and delivering poor results, and you can see massive gains in states like Florida, who are governing according to the tried and true principles that Ronald Reagan held dear. Saying this at the Ronald Reagan Library in Governor Newsom's backyard. I love it. It's a nice, ugly, dirty, nasty political fight brewing. He went on to say that, and I can tell you we had families move from the Pacific Coast just for the fact that we had schools open in Florida and when you didn't have them open in many other states. Of course, Newsom is not going to just, sit back and let a shot across the jaw go unanswered. So Newsom fired back. He says, just look at the data. California residents are safer, healthier, and more prosperous than those unfortunate to have you as their governor, Newsom said. And oh, by the way, you're going to get smoked by Trump.
You're a joke.
What a weak response. What an absolutely weak response by Governor Hairgel.
That's going to be the real fight because in the cursed year of our Lord 2023, where we have a population that unfortunately votes more for contestants on American Idol than for presidential nominations, this really is going to come down to these two and their hair.
Sometimes I really hate it when you're right.
That's going to be the argument. Do you go for the natural blow-dried look like DeSantis has? Do you go for the slightly greasy product-in look that Newsom's been rocking?
Yeah, the hair gel thing, I mean, that's always been obvious. We've heard that for a long time, but you're right. DeSantis has got he's rocking a different kind of do.
DeSantis may have the second best hair in American politics. The best hair in American politics belongs to Jim Patterson.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against that. Yeah, he does have a good head of hair.
I don't have a problem with these two taking a poke at each other. I really don't. I actually think it's kind of funny to watch.
I love it.
These two grown, powerful men with this kind of schoolyard taunt. Both of these guys just need to declare, because the one thing that irritates me is the implied insult that we can't guess where this is headed. If you want to be president, if you want to run for president, pull the trigger, make the announcement, start the campaign. And I mean that for both of them, because I know DeSantis is hedging. He's trying to let, Nikki Haley take some of the early ire, even as Trump is currently workshopping like 3 different nicknames for what I believe this week is still Ron DeSanctimonious. And both of these guys just need to jump on it, because America is not going to vote for Joe Biden again.
Oh, certainly not. But doing what you say you want to have happen violates one of the rules of war.
What is that?
Deception.
Well, then that raises the question. Do I want to vote for anybody who is viewing the contest for president of the United States as an act of warfare against political opposition, or as an opportunity to serve all 350 American citizens?
Well, that's a nice idealistic way of looking at it, and I'm going to intentionally take it further in the other direction. But it's political warfare.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're ever going back to the days where 2 candidates walk out on stage, shake each other's hands and go, "Hey, how are your grandkids doing?" "Oh, my grandson's doing great." "How are your grandkids?" I think those days are, if they ever existed, are long gone.
Unfortunately, I think the last time we saw it was probably right around 1984. Reagan and I won't hold my opponent's youth and inexperience against him.
Yeah, that was a great line, but Ronnie was just more crafty and more articulate in the bombs that he dropped on his opponents. He just so outclassed, obviously, Jimmy Carter, and then again what that other idiot was. But we need political war like this because the audience, the electors want it.
But if the electors want this, how far away are we from Camacho 2028?
2 or 3 weeks.
And taking a look at our Tuesday afternoon traffic, Highway 145, this is west of Fresno on West Belmont Avenue. There has been a collision with no injuries. Highway 41, chains are required at Cedar Springs Road. Highway 168, it's still closed at the bottom of the 4-lane, but should reopen tomorrow. Highway 180 is closed. Chains are required, that is, about a mile east of Highway 245. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
This is Helen with Solar Negotiators with a breaking solar industry news update. Extremely bad news coming out of California. NEM 3.0 is a new set of rules that will cut credit for solar systems on homes by up to 75%. However, there is some good news. If your application for your new solar system is submitted early enough, you can still lock in your savings under the current policy. This is good for up to 20 years, with no deadline for construction of the system. It's time to finally go solar, and Solar Negotiators is making it easy for you to reserve your solar project today with flexible cancellation options. But their team is recommending that all customers who don't currently have solar look to getting a quote and an active reservation as soon as possible. You will need a solar agreement to hold your place under the current 2.0 rules. NEM 3.0 is coming, and the deadline is rapidly approaching. Don't wait. Lock in your solar savings today. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to reserve your project, go to solarnegotiators.com today.
Donate your old vehicle to carsforkids.org. The original carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity, changing the lives of kids for more than 30 years, giving them a second chance at a brighter future because of your vehicle donations. Carsforkids.org offers free towing and takes vehicles in any condition. Plus, you'll receive a $50 gift card. Carsforkids.org. Donate your vehicle today.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
Coming soon, Saturday, March 18th, Fig Garden Rotary Annual Charity Auction. This is a don't-miss event. Enjoy an exciting evening of hors d'oeuvres, dinner, and entertainment, along with silent and live auction at the elegant Fort Washington Country Club, while knowing your attendance will help support many charitable causes in our local community, including Veterans Honor Flight, Assistance League, and River Camp for Kids. Rotary has helped so many organizations. Fig Garden Rotary Charity Auction and Dinner, Saturday, March 18th. Get tickets now at Murphy Bank in Fig Garden Village.
Hey everybody, it's Philip Teresi for the local guys at CopyRabbit.com. It is impossible to predict the economy this coming year, but CopyRabbit.com is going to help by connecting local homeowners with business owners, freelancers, with the right professional for the job, which means they need to hear from you. Sign up for a free account at CopyRabbit.com, K-O-P-I Rabbit.com. Check out the website for opportunities in the community. Find your next customer at CopyRabbit.com, where people go to get things done.
Is your company looking to increase exposure in the agricultural industry? What about driving more sales and expanding strategic partnerships? Look no further. The Ag Center is California's #1 resource in connecting ag professionals. What does it mean to be an affiliate or vendor of the Ag Center? We serve as a conduit, connecting companies to farmers, growers, and other ag service companies on our progressive platform. Learn more about the Ag Center today at www.theagcenter.com.
Clean and healthy water is essential for living your best life. LifeSource is the whole home water system that will change your life. LifeSource gives you filtered and delicious water from every tap, filtering out the bad stuff and keeping the good stuff for a healthier, happier you. No maintenance needed. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, valued at $825 with qualifying purchase. Call 559-330-1850, lifesourcewater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that engine. Your website, your business profile, even your social accounts. A couple of slip-ups and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability so you can rank higher than your competition. Get started today at cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS boost.com.
Covering everything from lab leaks to political freaks. We're all over it at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and me, E. Curtis Johnson, losing his voice on his second day of a new job. Oh, the odds of that. Anyway, that's all right. So we were just talking about the up-and-coming war of words. Well, it's not up-and-coming. The war of words between Governor DeSantis of Florida and Governor Newsom of California has already started. Locally, we have another very interesting and potentially, shall we say, heated opportunity going on between Steve Brandow and Gary Brenefeld.
Yeah, we've got 2 current city council members, both termed out. Both of them are going to run against longtime political allies for Fresno County supervisor seats, Brenefeld, Brandow, and Luis Chavez and Sal Quintero. What's remarkable to me is in both cases, you have totally safe incumbents being challenged by guys who are termed out in their current gig. Instead of going for assembly seats, instead of running for dog catch or something like that, you've got these intramural fights that I for both sides, I think strategically it's a bad idea.
Well, and from people who are known for being a little feisty. Now, I don't know Gary Bredefeld. I don't know him at all. I know Steve Brandow a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, I've had Steve Brandow in another lifetime on the air at another radio station I worked at. And Steve can be a little feisty.
Absolutely, he can.
I mean, there's some fire in that dude's belly.
Yeah, and Bredefeld is one of, if not the most tenacious of the local political scene. I've never seen Gary back off of a fight. I've never seen Gary back off of a fight.
And Gary is pretty strategic. He's a little more methodical in what he does. Brandow tends to blow up. I mean, Bredefeld certainly has his moments, but there's clearly some strategy behind Bredefeld.
Gary's usually pretty measured. Well, there's this article over at GV Wire. Where will donors and the GOP go in the Brandow-Bredefeld clash? And David Tobbs, the reporter on this, he says, while a judge may ultimately decide on how much Fresno County supervisorial candidates can pad their coffers, referring to this law in the county of Fresno that you can only transfer $30,000 between campaign accounts, Tobb goes on to say GOP political contributors and the party itself are deciding who to support. And then they kind of go through and describe the state of the race such as it is. I think there's a little inside baseball here that's worth just kind of following the thread.
Please tell.
GV Wire, as in Granville Wire, is owned by Darius Assemi, one of the principals behind the Granville Homes Group.
Yep.
Pillar of the community, major political donor. Darius Assemi hosts a weekly podcast with Fresno City Council member Mike Carbasi and Fresno County Supervisor Steve Brandow.
The plot thickens.
So you have this influential person who's already got a good working relationship with one of the two people in this contest. The other piece in this, we had in the last election cycle for the Fresno Unified School District Area 7 trustee race. Terry Sladek was the incumbent. He ran again for his seat. The woman who beat him is a respected member of the community. She worked as a school psychologist for many, many years. She is, by all accounts, a very likable person. She has zippo in terms of previous political experience. She's never run for office prior to this run for school board. She was endorsed by outgoing Sheriff Mims, the current mayor of the city of Fresno. Oh, look, Fresno County Supervisor Brandow and Fresno City Council member Mike Carbasi. Jim Costa, former Mayor Autry, Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, endorsed this lady. Supervisor Magsig, Henry Perea, Jim Patterson. Oh, look, Gary Bredefeld. And the list goes, Andrew Jans, the list goes on and on. For this person that had no previous political experience. That's a lot of glowing endorsements.
A lot of name brands.
Could it have anything to do with the fact that this woman who ultimately defeated Terry Sladek for the Fresno Unified Area School District trustee slot is a personal friend and romantic partner of the guy who runs GV Wire and who makes significant political donations all over town?
Wow.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with calling your friends and saying, hey, this is a worthy person. Come sit down, have a talk, make up your mind, and endorse or don't. But if I was running for office and somebody who's that engaged and that connected ran an article asking the question, where will donors in the GOP go in a clash with a guy that I do a podcast with? I'd say that there's writing on the wall.
That's some serious sleuthing, my friend.
It's all open knowledge if you're involved in local politics. There's no secrets there. Everybody knows if you've been involved in local politics. And it's not a criticism. It's just an unusual headline for somebody who makes it clear that he picks his winners.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just the way things are done, but good job connecting the dots.
I think that this headline is less a question than a warning. It's just a guess. Could be wrong. I guess we'll find out in about a year and a half.
That we will.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
Folks, there's a fast break with the game on the line. He dribbles down the court, passes ahead for the alley-oop, and it's caught for a slam dunk.
Do you need an assist? Regain and optimize your sexual performance. See what Pacific Men's Clinic can do to help in the bedroom. Pacific Men's Clinic's safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. An evacuation warning has been issued for Fresno County mountain communities. According to Fresno County Sheriff's Office, the warning began at 1 o'clock today for local mountain communities. It's meant to help those in the area prep for the upcoming storms. Note the evacuation warning is not an order. The Sheriff's Office says some mountain roadways will be open, but if you don't have a reason to head towards the hills, be sure not to. A former law enforcement officer in Tulare County sentenced to prison today for rape. KMJ's Liz Kern reports.
In January, 30-year-old Officer Oscar Robles pleaded no contest to felony rape charges. The series of sexual assaults were committed against 2 victims in Tulare County between April of 2017 and January of 2018. Robles threatened to use his authority as a peace officer to arrest the victim if she did not comply with his demands. Now he'll spend 10 years and 8 months in prison. He must also register as a sex offender for the remainder of his life. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
A woman was arrested early this morning after a hospital says her toddler tested positive for methamphetamine in Porterville. Police there called the Sierra View Medical Center. When they arrived, they were told about the child's condition and spoke with her mother, Carol Barnett. Officers say Barnett showing signs of being under the influence of a controlled substance. Porterville police then issued a search warrant at her home and say they found conditions to be both in disarray and deplorable. They also found drug paraphernalia during the search. Officers say they found 5 juveniles and the 3-year-old toddler at home with 2 men, James Jones and Benjamin Atchison, both of whom were said to be under the influence of a controlled substance. Following the investigation, officers say Child Welfare Services collected the children, and Atchison and Jones and Barnett arrested. All 3 booked under the Tulare County Jail, where they now face drug-related charges. Most of the nation's honeybees are in California right now. KMJ Ag Director Don York tells us why.
Some 90% of the nation's honeybees are here because they're needed to pollinate California's huge almond crop, according to UC Davis. And farmers normally make use of 2 colonies per acre on the 1.64 million acres of almonds throughout the Golden State. And California Farm Bureau is reporting that almond growers are not cutting back on the use of bees, even though farmers are facing tough economic times. State almond acreage is down for the first time in 2.5 decades, yet beekeepers say it's still difficult to find enough bees to rent for pollination. Don York, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. Otherwise, another sunny afternoon across the valley today with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s, overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And looking at Tuesday afternoon traffic, Highway 145, this is west of Fresno at West Belmont Avenue. There's been a collision with no injuries. Northbound 99 in Fresno at the Fresno Street off-ramp, there has been an injury collision. An ambulance is en route. For over 60 years, DeBudio and Defendus Insurance has provided high-quality risk management and insurance solutions to local businesses. They've been named Central Valley's best property and casualty insurance company for 9 years running. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. It's the Afternoon Drive with yours truly, E. Curtis Johnson and Philip Teresi. If you were listening earlier in the show, we were talking about Chris Rock taking on Woke America, calling out people saying, don't buy into this politically correct woke stuff. Now, put that in the back of your head for a second. So back in the day, I used to be a massive consumer of cable news.
Sure.
And even as a kid, I for example, I would always watch Walter Cronkite with my dad, that sort of thing. I read a newspaper most of my life. Used to subscribe to a couple of news magazines. News has always been of interest to me. But the thing that turned me off to it was Fox News. Now, just hold that thought, because I'm going a place where you don't think I'm going.
Yeah.
So I stopped watching Fox News only because I realized that all the news I consumed most of my life was liberal.
Oh, yeah.
I had a liberal slant. It was slant. It wasn't until Fox News came on that I realized, holy cow, how could I have been so stupid? I've been viewing propaganda. I've been listening. I've been reading propaganda most of my life. It took Fox News to get me to realize that, because I finally had a comparison. So enter Russell Brand. I don't know if you're familiar with Russell, but he is a character. He if just to look at him, you'll go, oh my gosh, that guy is a nut job. Well, yeah, he is. It's proof in advertising. Fearless guy. But he went on a rant saying that NBC is not any different than Fox News. Now, the point he's making with it is something that folks like myself on the right would contend that, well, yes, Fox News is slanted to the right because every other source is slanted to the left.
Yeah.
You know, what created Fox News? Well, all the other outlets created Fox News. That's what it was.
The original positioning statement, fair and balanced.
Yes, absolutely. So he's on with Bill Maher talking about this whole thing. And it's just like the whole Chris Rock thing that's coming out on his special. We've got another what is traditionally considered a liberal protagonist calling out the news on their bias that they have.
So what I found interesting about this, and Brand made the point, both Fox and MSNBC are, quote, mouthpieces for their affiliate owners in BlackRock and Vanguard, referring to the investment firms that hold controlling stakes. And I'm not going to try to do a Russell Brand impression here. He says, it's disingenuous to claim that the biases exhibited on Fox News are any different than the biases exhibited on MSNBC. I've been on MSNBC. It's propagandist nutcrackery over there.
Calling it like it is.
One, I love that it's Russell Brand doing it, because there's going to be a whole bunch of people on the left that stop and go, what? What do you mean it's all propaganda? I thought they were speaking truth to power and pushing back against the right-wing media ecosystem. And, of course, that's never been what it's been about. It's always been about attracting and retaining viewers of a certain political slant.
Yeah, and aside from the fact that there really is no right-wing media. Maybe Fox News, maybe a couple of magazines here and there.
Oh, I would say OAN and Newsmax both have followed Fox News in that mold.
Yeah, I have a difficult time putting OAN in any credible source, but I digress. Please continue.
No, I agree. OANN is the WorldNet Daily of cable news platforms, 100%.
Yes.
I don't want to toot my own horn here. I've been saying this for a decade. I have been yelling this. I have been begging people, both here on this platform and when I go and I talk to college students and high school kids. I've been begging people, never, ever, ever commit yourself to a single source of news. Always change the channel. If not every day, every hour. Always change the channel. We sit here in this studio, and we, generally speaking, on any given day, we have Fox News on because we're a Fox News affiliate. We usually have CNN on because we used to be a CNN affiliate, and frankly, their hosts aren't as terrifying to watch on mute as the people from MSNBC. And then we rotate through local television stations to keep an eye on what's coming, and we usually settle on our news partner, Fox 26. But if there's something breaking locally, it's one more set of eyes in the room. Watching a conservative news network and a liberal news network broadcasting side by side, day after day, year after year, it is like watching news broadcasts from parallel universes. I've been saying this for years. And this weird, squicky, goofy, failed stand-up comedian is finally going to be the one that people stop and go, oh, wait, what? Oh, Russell Brand said it. Well, he said it with a charming English accent. Therefore, it might be worth hearing. It just drives me nuts. Now, Russell Brand did a podcast. Him and Ben Shapiro sat down together. They talked about all kinds of stuff, and they are very much politically opposite. If you want to hear just from a pure auditory stimulation perspective, if you want to hear the two most aggressive cadences in broadcasting, just going back and forth over each other, Ben Shapiro and Russell Brand talking to each other is like it's like watching somebody bounce back and forth between cocaine and codeine.
Wow, that's a comparison.
There's not other than the fact that Brand can be over the top, is there anything wrong with what he's saying? If you take Russell Brand out of it and just observe the statement made, is there anything to argue with here?
Well, no, and obviously I'm a little biased because I'm a conservative, but he's just saying what most of us on the right noticed a long, long time ago. But it's someone on the left. It's one of the reasons why Bill Maher is getting so much attention, because he's calling out the left on their own nonsense, their own hypocrisies.
Brand makes this point, and it's a really well-turned train of thought. Bickering about which propagandist network is the worst is not going to save a single American life, not improve the life of a single American child, not going to improve America's standing in the world. The world needs a strong America. You have an obligation, a duty, not to condone this.
Well, and coming from an Englishman, coming from someone who, I don't know, maybe he just said it by accident, but I would like to believe that he understands America's position in the world.
Does he get wingnutty when he says, and again, this is a quote, all mainstream media outlets are so beholden to corporate and commercial interests, they will not give you the type of information you need to make valid decisions.
No, there's nothing wingnut about that at all. Nothing. It's a fact. It's as accurate as it can be.
I happen to think so too. I have thought for a long, and you and I talked about this, that week that you came in. What was that? God, what was that, 10 years ago?
10 years ago?
A month ago, 10 years ago? I don't remember. That first week that you came in. I had floated my idea that in order to maintain your broadcast charter, because we can't do this to cable TV, we can't do it to the internet, but we can do it through the FCC if the will of the voter was behind it, to require that news not be commercially supported. You can have 22 hours a day of whatever it is you want to broadcast, whatever it is you want to do, Big Bang Theory reruns and Reboot and Quantum Leap and whatever else. When the news is on, there are no sponsors. You have to do 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day of the news if you're going to be a TV station or part of a network, but you can't have money tied to it. It's just part of keeping your license.
Yeah, I think that's a horrible idea. Just for the sake of discussion, that's as ridiculous as what equal time used to be. For example, the thing that created conservative radio talk was the Federal Communications Commission did away with equal time. When was it? Sometime in the mid-'80s. I forget the exact year. I think it was during the Reagan administration.
Oh, yeah.
But it used to be if you were going to have an argument about something on the left, you had to have a counter opinion from someone on the right and vice versa. Well, all that went away.
Yeah.
A lot of liberals lost their minds over that.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happened? Well, most talk formats went conservative. There were a few liberal, Air America, what did that last? Year and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe. But most talk radio went conservative. There's nothing wrong with a commercial endorsement of that. And if most talk was liberal, I would go so far as to say there's nothing wrong with a commercial endorsement of that either. But to say if it's news, you can't put a commercial in it, takes us back to the equal time, and it's not the corrupter. It's not corporations that are corrupting the news. It's political pundits. It's political parties that are corrupting the news, not corporations.
I would argue that the corporations and the politicians share equal blame at their end of the at their end of the transaction. But I actually believe that one of the biggest problems with the direction of news is consumer behavior. The news being a profit-motivated proposition, and this is where I go back to the idea, even if I mean, you've got more experience in this. You can speak to this in a way that I simply cannot. Everybody's chasing eyeballs, eardrums, clicks, views, likes.
Okay, I follow you so far.
We even with the introduction of the internet and social media, they are still pursuing the same thing: audience share and time spent with the media. In radio, it's QM and TSL. In order to get that, in order to attract that, to retain that, and therefore to make yourself marketable, because how do we support ourselves? We support ourselves with commercials. We sell airtime to businesses that like the product, that are willing to endorse the product, that are willing to participate in the product, because they know that if we do our jobs well, you guys will stick around for 3 minutes so you can hear the next segment of entertainment. Consumer behavior has steered the news to these extremes. The old adage, if it bleeds, it leads. There isn't a news director in the country who wants to show you the saddest thing that happened in the world today for the sheer joy of showing you a sad thing. They're going to show you the saddest thing that happened in the world today because people are going to stop and watch. And as long as the news cycle is driven by the need to attract and retain an audience rather than simply inform and educate, it is going to continue to chase views and clicks above and beyond the goal of objective truth.
Okay, I'll concede that that's true for the sake of discussion. But in conceding that, I will argue there's no connection between that and a commercial sponsor. There's a difference. As someone who has spent most of his life as a program director of radio stations, as someone who has controlled media, it's not the commercial that's corrupting. It's gonna be the same programming, left or right, regardless of the commercial sponsors.
Okay.
It's the political influence that corrupts.
Okay. I'm willing to accept your judgment in this. Like I said, you do know the game better.
And here's another reason why your plan should never work, and this is real quick.
Yeah.
So if we can't have any more commercial content during the news, you go back to being a one-man talk show guy, because as the new guy, I'm out the door. So for that reason alone, we need commercial sponsorship.
It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. Thanks for hanging out.
And looking at traffic on this Tuesday, northbound 99 in downtown Fresno at the Fresno Street off-ramp, there has been an injury collision. An ambulance was called to the scene, and northbound 99 in that area is at a standstill. Again, that's in the downtown area. For over 60 years, DeBudio and Defendus Insurance has provided high-quality risk management and insurance solutions for local businesses. They have been named Central Valley's best property and casualty insurance company for 9 years running. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
What do you do with a shy chicken? Get her to come out of her shell. Get it? Hi, folks, this is Lon Hanna, and it's time again to decide between blondes, brunettes, or redheads. We're talking chicks, baby chicks, and from now through June, Evans Feed is your baby chick headquarters. They've got Rhode Island Reds, Americanas, Buff Orpingtons, New Hampshire Reds, you name it, ducks, geese, and turkeys too. On Thursdays only, buy a 50-pound chick starter and get 5 chicks free. This is Lon Hanna telling you to choose Evans Feed for your Western lifestyle in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
What a year it's been for Best Concrete Blocks. Seems like everybody's finding a way to use these versatile and affordable blocks. Walls, barriers, material separation, they're nearly indestructible. And now, Best Concrete Blocks is introducing Pretty Boy, a great choice for adding an aesthetically appealing block with a beautiful stonemason's design. The Pretty Boy block is perfect for areas that have public visibility. See Pretty Boy for yourself at bestconcreteblocks.com or call 288-7902.
Selma Swap. Buy or sell cars, parts, and big boy toys. March 18th, Highway 99 at Mountain View. 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. SelmaSwap.com.
Donate your old vehicle to carsforkids.org, the best car vehicle donation program. Your generosity changes the lives of kids right here in our community with a second chance to build a better future. Before you sell or give away that old vehicle in any condition, please donate it to carsforkids.org. Carsforkids.org takes cars, trucks, motorcycles. Pickup is free, plus you'll get a $50 Visa gift card as a special thank you. It's so easy to donate at carsforkids.org. Please, write off the car, not the kid.
It's Allbritton's complete furnace revitalization.
Makes your heater blow like it's young again for just $129.
Online at allbritain.com.
Looking for a new dining and beverage experience? Come check out Genesis Bistro at the northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno, where the chef's cuisine, along with our mixologist's full cocktail and wine bar, are getting people talking. Open for lunch and dinner, make your next meal with friends or family at Genesis Bistro, a one-of-a-kind experience. Also a great place to host a special event or celebration meal. To reserve an event, call 559-314-8284. Are you a talented hairstylist looking for a change? Check out 8028 Salon at Cedar and Nice, where we have open stations available and a move-in special. 8028 Salon offers a unique location and atmosphere for you and your clients. Elegantly located next to Genesis Bistro, your clients will have full options to enjoy food and drinks during service. 8028 Salon only has a few open stations left. Give your talents as a stylist the location you deserve at 8028 Salon. Inquire today at the location, northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno.
I know exactly how you feel. You're sitting there at the gas pump wondering, am I ever going to have a regular meal again? Because you're cutting out all the good food because you can't afford the gas, right? Wait until you see your next PG&E bill. No more meals out and no more hair because you're going to be pulling that out as well, too. Do what I did. Planet Solar. When you have a solar system put in by Planet Solar, you literally lock in your energy price forever. Don't you wish it could be that way at the gas pump? Sorry, but you can't do that there. But you can do it for your home with Planet Solar, and it all began for them right here in Central California. One of the things I really liked about these guys is their financing. Don't let the rate hike scare you away from going with Planet Solar. And they are really quick and good and efficient on installation, and they have become masters at putting together a complete solar package with a solar battery. So you've got the juice when PG&E says, no, you don't need it because we're trying to conserve to save the world. Click planetsolar.com. Do that. Call them at 228-9245.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia. Good Feet, the official arch support of Fresno State Athletics.
News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and yours truly, E. Curtis Johnson. A little bit of seriousness coming out of Tulare County this morning. What am I saying? Where's my mind? This afternoon.
Yeah, Ashley Schwarm is the public information officer for the Tulare County Sheriff's Office, and she has just sent out a press release. Sheriff Boudreaux is issuing an evacuation warning for the community of Ponderosa. And so this is a warning that includes all businesses, all homes, all structures within the community, all roadways, Forest Service roads, access ways attached to Mountain 107, which is also known as the Western Divide Highway, everything north of Mountain Road 50 and south of Highway 190. The sheriff's office says that residents not wishing to evacuate should understand the roadways could be inaccessible for a period of time. Residents should plan accordingly and stock up on food, water, medication, and fuel, and specifically gas, diesel, and propane. They go on to say the Tulare County Sheriff's Office is closely monitoring the forecast for an atmospheric river, here we go again, arriving late Thursday. The storm is expected to impact the area through Saturday, with additional storms possible next week. National Weather Service has indicated this rain and or snow event will not lead to significant higher elevation snow melt, but high precipitation and snow totals may still cause issues. And so the Tulare County Sheriff's Office, specifically talking to the community of Ponderosa, says start preparing now, and especially if you're in an area at risk of being isolated due to snow and ice-related road and bridge closures.
You know, for your average Californian, this is sometimes, these kind of things, you can't relate to it.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, the Bay Area, you didn't grow up around this kind of thing.
The very first time I actually saw snow falling from the sky, I had my driver's license. I knew what snow was. I'd been skiing and stuff. My first time actually watching snowfall was when it happened in '98 in Fresno, actually.
I remember that day. A week ago yesterday, I was driving through Denver, Colorado, down I-70 on my way to hit the 15. And as we came across the Utah border, just east of Beaver, I ran into a blizzard.
Oh.
And it took about 3 hours to go 30 miles. We're driving that slow. My point in that is the average Californian who may not be familiar with snow, when you get a warning like this, you can blow it off. Now, people who are longtime residents of places like Ponderosa and mountain communities, they understand how serious this can be.
Yeah.
But a retiree who maybe has sold their home in Cupertino and has moved up to the mountains, this is their first encounter with this kind of stuff, it's easy to blow it off. Don't.
Yeah, and by the way, the Tulare County Sheriff's Office, you can go to tularecounty.ca.gov to find their website. They've got a nice rundown, and I'm going to share the Tulare County Emergency Service website in just a minute here. You'll be able to find it Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ. But they give those kind of enumerated suggestions for folks preparing that if you've prepared, you know this list. And if it's your first time, it's a handy checklist. It's a good reminder either way. I've never been snowed in. I've never been in weather so bad I couldn't leave my house. I've been in weather so bad I don't want to leave my house. I've had localized flooding that caused me to get soaked to my thighs after my darling son drove a Saturn Ion into a lake. Ashland and Golden State, right there by Foster's Freeze.
Yeah.
Every time it rains heavy, you know how it fills up.
Yeah.
First rain we had this was 5-6 years ago now. First serious rain we had in a couple of years, and it got to the point where the water line had come all the way up that berm in front of Foster's Freeze. And for reasons that I don't entirely understand, he thought the Saturn was going to make it. And he drove the Saturn into the puddle, and the water came up to the middle of the door panels. And you know what happens when you put a lot of cold water in the intake manifold of a running car?
It cracks.
You get a paperweight, a great big shiny gold paperweight, and Dad gets to push it out of the lake. I know you got a little bit of experience earlier in life dealing with crummy weather and getting isolated. The checklist from Tulare County makes sense. This is all the sensible. You need fuel, you need wood for fires, you need to have food stocked up, water stocked up, comfort items. If you were told, hey, you're going to get snowed in, what's besides the obvious, the survival tools, what do you want to have in the house?
Something to occupy your mind. Now, I've lived in 4 states, Washington, Montana, Utah, and Pennsylvania, where it snowed, all different kinds of snow too. Nothing to mess around with. I've been snowed in, and boredom is a factor. And oftentimes when people get bored, they venture out. They get cabin fever. I mean, that's a real thing.
Oh yeah.
If you got a book to read, you've got some battery powered device that you can watch some entertainment on. It's a good diversion, because when you're looking out your window and all you see is whiteness, your mind sometimes gets bored. Keep it occupied with something. That may sound just like basic common sense, but again, this is not for people who live in these communities. These are for people who have just moved up there, maybe have not experienced it yet.
But I'm thinking of that couple from Cupertino that decides they're done with the Bay Area rat race and goes to a community like Ponderosa, beautiful, quiet, a little bit out of the way, and they get snowed in, and oh oops, the iPad doesn't have Wi-Fi, and I've seen this episode of Star Trek 900 times. Deck of cards, stack of books, back issues of Reader's Digest, have something.
Absolutely. Diversion. You got to have diversion from the emergency.
That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive on KMJ. We got Jim Miller now in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Merced County Sheriff's Office releasing the body cam footage of a deadly officer-involved shooting in Dos Palos. The incident occurred January 13 after a woman called in to say her boyfriend holding her 5-year-old son captive at knife point. Deputies responded to an apartment complex on Globe Avenue near Lexington Avenue. That suspect, identified as 37-year-old Adolfo Cruz, threatened to kill himself and the child after he spoke with police. A crisis negotiator attempted to defuse the situation, but Cruz refused to cooperate. A deputy fired one shot, killing him. The child was rescued and the knife was recovered. Fresno County officials meeting today, prepping for the incoming storm this week. KMJ's Liz Kern reports.
Rain falling on snow in the Sierra Nevada will potentially cause flooding. Fresno County's administrative officer, emergency services manager, along with others, meeting with representatives from the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, the Highway Patrol, and the National Weather Service. The Weather Service's Bianca Faudkircher advising Californians to prepare.
Snow melts, especially in those elevations below 5,000 feet, will lead to flooding and rises on rivers. Right now is that time to get prepared. It is looking very impactful. Make sure to have your flood kits ready if you are planning travel this weekend. Stay tuned with the weather, and if you can postpone, it's really looking like a very active period this weekend and even next week.
The city of Madera will be providing free sand and sandbags for residents on a first-come, first-served basis. The National Park Service says Yosemite will remain closed through at least Sunday, March 12th. It was announced that Highway 168, closed due to snow, will be reopening on Wednesday. Good news for people living in Shaver Lake and Huntington Lake, as well as those wanting to ski at China Peak. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Community Health System announcing contract agreements with Cigna and United Healthcare following months of negotiations. The situation had left thousands of members unsure about their services after contracts with United Healthcare, Cigna, and Anthem Blue expired at the start of the year. They were initially recommended to use other in-network hospitals. The contracts with Anthem Blue remained expired. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Rain starting late Thursday with an atmospheric river rolling through. Rain totals from this upcoming storm could bring 2 to 3 inches on the valley floor and a threat of flooding along the east side of the valley, the foothills, and mountains below 6,000 feet. So please be prepared. Otherwise, another sunny afternoon across the valley today with afternoon highs still below normal in the mid to upper 50s, overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s with frost possible tomorrow morning. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at traffic, northbound 99 at the Fresno Street off-ramp. Earlier this hour, there was an injury collision. Ambulances were called to the scene. That's caused northbound 99 to be at a standstill for the past hour. It's beginning to move ever so slowly. And taking a look in the Visalia area, Avenue 280 at North Mariposa, There's been a collision with no injuries. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Bring your friends and family to Castle Air Museum in Atwater and check out almost 80 vintage military aircraft exhibits open daily from 9 to 4. Check out castleairmuseum.org.
There must be some serious madness this March at the Tachi Palace because we're giving away over $400,000 in cash and prizes. Ah! People told us we were crazy, mad even, to give away over $400,000 in 1 month. But we said it would be crazy not to give away over $400,000 in 1 month. I mean, it's madness for us to give away over $400,000 this March. Just to recap, March, $400,000 madness! The Tachi Palace Casino Resort. This is 40.
Operations are minimizing. The demand for storage is higher than ever, and driving to an off-property storage facility isn't exactly practical. 20 to 45-foot repurposed shipping containers for personal and work storage are great. Container Stop will deliver yours to you, but Container Stop doesn't stop there. What about a tack room for equestrian use? Utility room for a gym, auto or carpentry shop with roll-up door. Here's the coolest part. Container Stop can even deliver custom home space containers for construction site offices, working from home space, studio use, or even adding a living space. Yeah, complete with finished floors, walls, windows, bathroom, kitchenette, heat, and AC. Hard to imagine? Then don't. Visit ContainerStop.com and see for yourself. They have what you need, or will literally make it. Looking for short or long-term storage solutions? Stop. Nobody does storage containers better than Container Stop. Their website's easy. It's their name, then .com. ContainerStop.com.
Commercial Radiator, your full-service repair shop for large industrial radiators, ag equipment, or to keep your fleet on the road. That's Commercial Radiator.
Is your well almost dry, or is it dry? Are you on a waiting list to have a well drilled? Have you been turned away from other drilling companies who can't handle the hard rock drilling conditions in your area? Strickland Well Drilling is here for you. With over 2 decades of experience specializing in residential, agricultural, and hard rock drilling, Strickland Well Drilling proudly serves Fresno, Tulare, Kings, and Madera counties. Don't wait. Make the call today at 352-7228. Again, 352-7228. Or for more information, visit StricklandWellDrilling.com. Whether it's the soft sandy soils of the West, the clay and cobble of the East, or the hard rock mountainous terrain, Strickland Well Drilling has the equipment and expertise to handle your individual water well needs. Access to clean water is vital, and Strickland Well Drilling knows you can't afford to wait. Call for a no-cost detailed estimate today at 352-7228. Strickland Well Drilling, dedicated to keep the valley flowing. Make the call today, 352-7228, or visit StricklandWellDrilling.com.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
1455 Frazee Road, Suite 1050, San Diego, California, 92108. CordellCordell.com.
EasyCater presents We've Got Your Back. Up Singers.
Backup Singers. So I order barbecue for a 20-person client meeting. EasyCater calls and says, "Hi, Sarah, you probably need more food for that many people. Want us to add it for you?"
Doing it for you.
I say, "Yes, please."
Yes.
Turns out they were right. Good thing they asked, because Joyce's meeting notes can be pretty sassy when she's hungry.
Look out.
Client meetings? EasyCater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com and know.
We got your back.
The winter months are upon us, so it's time for your truck's free winter diagnostic checkup. Come on in and let one of our certified service technicians perform a comprehensive HVAC and battery systems check. If further repairs are required, you can receive up to a 15% discount on parts and labor needed for the repair. Visit any one of our 3 dealerships at EM Tharp Golden State Peterbilt, located in Fresno, Porterville, and Bakersfield. Call today to schedule your free winter checkup. 800-421-0117. That's 800-421-0117.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. It's the Afternoon Drive. That's Philip. I'm E. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, so quick story here, Philip. My second boss as a teenage disc jockey, I was 16 years old when I first started in radio. I had 3 job opportunities. I could box groceries, I could pump gas, or I could work at the local radio station. So I took the low-paying job and started my career in radio. So my second boss was from Pennsylvania. His grandfather, around the turn of the century, was in the chocolate business. And the family story was, this is how Dad lost the family, this is how Grandpa lost the family fortune. So the guy's name was like Don Williams or something like that. Don Williams had a failed chocolate maker from the center part of Pennsylvania come and visit him in Pittsburgh, and he proposed that they merge their operations. So Don Williams, this guy's grandfather, said, I know for a fact that you've been bankrupt at least twice, so hit the highway.
Yeah.
In reality, it was the Hershey Highway, because the guy who was asking him to merge businesses was Milton Hershey.
Holy smokes.
So that's my connection to Milton Hershey. Aside from the fact I like Hershey chocolates, I've been to Hershey, Pennsylvania, been through the plant. The air inside is heavenly.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, but I'm not sure where Hershey is going with this. Incidentally, Hershey owns Reese's, but they're coming out with plant-based chocolate. Now, the thing I'm trying to figure out, is this a politically correct term for saying non-dairy? Because the last time I checked, chocolate comes from a bean grown in Central America, and it's a plant. So how do you have plant-based plants? I'm confused.
Yeah, that was exactly where my head went when I saw this, is chocolate's a plant. I mean, there is the issue of the presence of dairy, which if you're a vegan would not work out. Don't we have enough dairy adjacent products at this point, almond milk, oat milk, all that stuff, that it's got to be possible to formulate chocolate without the use of dairy products, right?
Yes, you can buy all kinds of chocolate that doesn't have dairy in it. It's not as creamy.
Sure.
But that's my point. I mean, words mean things. And so with my alleged analytical mind, plant-based plants does not compute. Now, if I see that something is non-dairy as a carnivore, I will turn away from that. To me, that translates into no taste. Are they trying to achieve this with plant-based chocolate?
Well, and then you've got the Reese's Cups. Peanut butter is made from ground-up peanuts.
Yeah, another plant.
Sugar, salt. They've got some of those polysyllabic additives that are there for emulsification and to prevent separation, all
Sure.
that.
Sugar, of course, if it's natural, comes from plants.
Yeah. And then oils, which I understand that you could have like animal fat-based oil, which, again, would not fly with the vegan scene. But we've also got plenty of vegetable-based oil.
Yeah, corn oil, various other things.
So what they really did is they rebranded a non-dairy iteration of their product to loop in the people that can't stop talking about their dietary choices.
Apparently. You know what they've also looped in? They've looped in a couple of dudes, one whose name is Philip Teresi, one whose name is E. Curtis Johnson, to essentially give them a free commercial on a very powerful set of radio stations.
I'm okay with that. I don't hate Hershey's, and I'm not going to stop enjoying Reese's peanut butter cups because there's a plant-based version out there. If you want to be vegan, shut up and eat a salad. If there's enough, and this is the part that I think gets me. We talk about pandering to insignificant populations, and all of the things that we do right now in the wokey woke world to accommodate little tiny slices of the population that have decided that they need to have some sort of special need or special acknowledgement because everybody needs to get their trophy, right? If Hershey's finds it profitable to make vegan stuff, great, cool, awesome, wonderful, go for it. I don't know anything about business, so God bless you. I hope it works out for you. I have less difficulty understanding this than I do the vegan burgers, the fake meat, the Impossible burgers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't want to eat meat, why do you want to eat something that looks, smells, feels, and tastes like meat?
Okay, so there's a vegan family member of mine. At family gatherings, what are we eating lots of times? Hamburgers.
Sure.
So they kind of feel ostracized. They kind of feel left out. So to have a shared experience in a product that doesn't make them sick. Incidentally, this family member, it's not they would like to be able to eat meat.
Yeah.
But it makes them sick. They just can't do it.
Well, and I have empathy for that person. If you've got some kind of physical issue that you can't digest it, like I'm not picking on you. I'm talking about the obnoxious people stopped listening to me talk about CrossFit, so now I'm going to tell you about how I'm plant-based guy.
Well, okay, yeah. The annoying people.
Yes. It's it's those people that turn me off. If you want a burger, go have a burger. If you don't want to eat meat, stay out of my burger joint. Because something's going to get screwed up and they're going to start cooking things differently. And the cost of my burger is going to go up because they have to run 2 grills 24/7 because you're not getting equitable treatment because your thing can't be cooked on the same grill as my thing. And their power bill went up. So now all of a sudden a cheeseburger at McDonald's is $2 instead of $1.50. And it's your fault because you wanted McDonald's to accommodate you when you don't eat meat.
The irony is the cure for your ailment and your irritation is a thing called a Happy Meal. The irony of all this is not lost on me, my friend.
That's E. Curtis. I'm Philip. It's the Afternoon Drive. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
This traffic report is sponsored by Table Mountain Casino and Resort in downtown Fresno. Northbound 99 is still quite congested and stop and go because of an accident that occurred earlier this afternoon. That was at the Fresno Street off-ramp. There were injuries involved there, and ambulances reported to the scene. Avenue 280, North Mariposa. This is in the Visalia area. Collision with no injuries. Southbound 41 at the Shaw Avenue off-ramp. There has been a hit and run with no injuries. Here's another way to win this March at Table Mountain Casino Resort. You can win a stoneware set on Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight or 900 points playing with your rewards card. If you qualify, you win. Pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. Your next adventure is at Table Mountain Casino Resort. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Trust, it doesn't always come easy. When you need a home or a car, you shop around. When you need help with your finances, you want choices that work for you, not a flashy sales pitch. At LPL, our approach is thoughtful, professional, and personal. I'll help you work towards your goals by crafting a financial plan that focuses on you. You can reach me, Tom Diaz, by phone at 559-878-4623. Give me a call, and we can talk through your financial goals and answer questions you may have.
Thomas Diaz is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Employees are tough to find. Good ones even tougher. Unless you're at the Central Valley Career Fair coming to Sierra Vista Mall March 16th. It's your chance to find some great new hires from hundreds looking to find or upgrade their future employment. This career fair is promoted to job seekers or people who may consider a change by 4 Big Valley radio stations, including this one. It's the Central Valley Career Fair March 15th from 11 till 2 at the Sierra Vista Mall, presented by the Arc of Fresno and Madera counties. To reserve your space, go to KMJnow.com.
For more than 2 decades, the Business Journal has been the comprehensive source for business news in Fresno, Kings, Madera, and Tulare counties. We deliver the Valley's most important business stories in print, online at thebusinessjournal.com, and to email inboxes via our daily update and morning roundup newsletters. The Business Journal has won dozens of local, state, and national awards for its news coverage, design, and web development. Communication with the Fresno Business Journal can have a positive impact on your company company's bottom line. Readers of the Business Journal are affluent and influential. Collectively, they lead and manage about 50% of the metro area's total employees. Readers of the Business Journal make personal and professional buying decisions every day. Advertising in the Business Journal influences people with influence. Call their marketing people today at 490-3422 and stay ahead of your competition. That's 490-3422 or email Abner Garcia at abner@thebusinessjournal.com.
The California Mid-State Fair is pleased to present an evening of music and wine featuring Styx. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Take a trip through the music and relive the classics live. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Styx, with one hit song after another. Reserve seats on sale Friday, March 10th at 10 a.m. at midstatefair.com. Styx. Don't miss Styx. Presented by the California Mid-State Fair.
Are you like me? You like to play around with your truck or your Jeep? Whether that vehicle is just a toy or maybe it's your office, it's your work. That's how you make your living because of your truck. Every single need you have with that vehicle is met by the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Yeah, me, Ray Appleton. I'm talking about this great company that I have been involved with for a couple of decades now. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many different dealerships here in Central California have used the Noble Brothers for years to finish their trucks. But you want to finish that after-purchase build-out? Your partner on that one has to be the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers. Two of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other at Blackstone and Sierra. Hey, you got a fifth wheel? You need the Noble Brothers. They have gooseneck hitches, and yes, they have B&W. You need a bed liner? A ladder rack? You have a Jeep Wrangler like me. You want to lift it? Big tires, wheels, all kinds of lights. For 42 years, it's the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
In the early days of broadcasting, few people realized what a fine art radio was to become, or what an influence it was destined to wield upon mankind.
Serving you since 1922. News Talk 580 1059. KMJ.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
So ends our broadcast day.
News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. Almost done here with the afternoon drive. Philip Teresi, yours truly, E. Curtis Johnson. One of the things I've always found interesting is the European Union and the conflicts that have come out of, national identities over certain foods.
Yeah.
Now it's come across, as the English would say, it's transferred across the pond and come to America because you've probably seen the Toblerone brand of chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Very creamy. Well,
fantastic chocolate.
Yes, I love that stuff. It's so creamy. Well, now they're going to have to, rebrand themselves because the Toblerone isn't made enough in Switzerland, so it can't be Swiss chocolate, and they're moved to Slovakia. Now think about it. Just throw this, ramble this around, roll this around in the palette of your mind. What sounds more appetizing? Swiss chocolate or Slovakian chocolate?
What surprised me is, look, if a thing's not made in Switzerland is, I think, totally within their rights to say you can't say it's Swiss if it's not made here.
Truth in advertising.
They have to pull the Matterhorn mountain out of their logo. Right in the middle of the Toblerone logo, if you look at that triangular package, you've got the Matterhorn right up above the middle of the word. And sometimes they've got it appearing on the left side in front of the T, depending upon the size of the box.
That's right.
They can't have the Matterhorn on there because it is a implication of Swissness that does not meet the labeling criteria established in 2017, where companies using Swissness to sell products must meet certain criteria, including a mandate that 80% of a food's raw material come from Switzerland.
Okay, well, what about this? Maybe we can make it a Slovakian/American brand, and it now becomes the Matterhorn from Disneyland. And Disney being the megalopoly, I'm making up a word here, the behemoth corporation that they are, they could make it politically correct. I don't know.
I honestly don't care if it says Toblerone of Switzerland or if it says established in Switzerland in 1908 on the package. If the quality of the product declines, that's what's going to scare me off. I don't care what the package says as long as what's inside is good. But you brought up this is starting to lean into the French argument, the very, very French argument that you can only call sparkling wine champagne should it come from the Champagne region of France.
Yes, that's what started the whole conflict in the European Union.
I saw a great variation when the murder hornets first appeared and everybody was losing their minds.
Yeah, murder hornets.
You can only call them murder hornets if they come from the murder region of France. Otherwise, they're just sparkling assault wasps. Guys, we got to go. Mark Levin is on the way, along with an update from the Fox Newsroom and a check-in with our friends at the Valley's Legends Legacies. Thank you for your time, your comments, and your attention. E. Curtis and I will be back tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. The Great One is next. Don't move. Have a great night.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.